Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another episode of Blasphemers Bible. Do we need any opening commentary on Job the 16th?
I don't know. How about we ask our visiting scholar, Dr. Kip Davis?
I've never
Who?
read. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's this is
Yeah,
all
you,
this is
you
all
only
brand new
read
to me.
you only read the Dead Sea Scrolls,
That's
and
it.
every publication that you published has been retracted. So yeah,
Everyone.
Every
But,
single
no,
one.
they haven't got around to this one yet, but I expect
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
coming. So
Yeah,
he is right.
it's already crossed out. It's already crossed out for them.
it's already
Yes.
everything's already
Yes,
been
yes.
redacted. Yeah.
Kip
Yes.
Davis has written no books.
Just
Yeah, and Job
you
is the
know,
oldest book.
just 5. That's all. But
yes,
and only 2 have been retracted. But I feel like that's kind of a record.
only 2.
It wasn't my fault. So
That's what they all
actually
say.
maybe it was kind of my fault because sorry, that's a long story, a long, very interesting
Okay.
I think the one thing I have to say before we hop into it is, well, I guess 2 things, but they're related. So, Aaron, I want to thank you again for getting me on the line. I didn't even ask to come on the line this time. Aaron was just like, "Hey, do you want to come on again?" So I'm very appreciative of that. But secondly, I'm also kind of bummed that we don't get many all the Bible callers don't call in when I'm there. They call in when they call into Forrest and Erica, 2 biologists, and they start talking about the Bible. I'm like, why can't I get these calls? So like
You understand.
That's because
I
of the
understand
same
why,
reason
but
why
also
Arn gets
why.
cosmology questions when he's on there.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why when
Has
I was with
the-
P.Z. Myers in Dublin for
Yeah.
an atheist convention there, and a bunch of Muslims approached him and started talking to him about embryology until he said, "Okay, well then that your source is wrong." And they say, "How can you say that? This is his field." And he said, "Well, it's my field too. And I'm a developmental biologist. I am an embryologist." And they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, let's talk about geology then."
God damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
It
you
was
can
just
only
literally.
defend your position by never speaking to anyone who knows anything on the subject. Maybe, and hear me out, okay? Huge stretch of logic. Maybe you're wrong.
Faith means never admitting when you're wrong, no matter how clearly or obviously it's proved. And I think it's funny when I watch like people like Christy Nome. I remember when she was first being interviewed for the position she was seeking, and they're all asking her from her book. Did you ever? Because you'd said in your book at one point that you met Kim Jong Un, and she was belittling him from her experience as a elementary school teacher, and she kept saying when did you meet Kim Jong Un? And rather than admit no, that was a lie, she kept doing this sideways answer. So that it would, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. And you have, as I told you, when I was notified that was in there, I realized that was inappropriate. I took it out. When you wrote that, when you made that shit up, when you told that lie and realized that people caught you in the act, no, she was not going to admit that. So here she was in Congress again last week, and they keep asking her yes or no questions. She will not answer a question with a yes or a no.
And that is
Doggedly
the art
wrong.
of the politician, to
She
never
keeps telling a
admit.
narrative that tries to deflect. When they were asking when you are violating the law by grabbing these American citizens, these decorated war veterans, and deporting them to countries they've never been to before, and then she starts bitching instead of the yes or no question, giving a yes or no answer. She starts bitching about what she imagines Joe Biden did. Yeah, but she will not answer a question yes or no ever.
It's sometimes I just really wish that we would be like in the room with some of these people just to call them out, because I feel like the mainstream media especially is not equipped to handle the brand of bullshit that comes out of their mouths, like, because their stuff is a lot closer to the religious bullshit we see.
Yeah.
And we can see it. We know
Closer.
what's wrong.
It's identical.
Yeah.
It's
No,
the same shit.
I say closer because they're not actually arguing for God when they get up there.
So when they
At
asked
least
Trump, for
not all the time.
example, if you have executive power, you could just release these files. Why not just? Why are you announcing that you're signing the thing that Congress is forcing you to do, why not just do the thing? If you're going to say that you're going to be the one doing it, be the one doing it. Why are you waiting for Congress to approve that? Why can't you just do it? It's not the question that bothers me. It's your attitude. You're a terrible reporter.
Yeah.
That didn't give us an answer, did it? So this is what they do. They always duck and dodge. They will never answer the question. They answer the question that they wanted to be asked, or they try to reframe it. And when you get into the religious arguments, it's exactly the same bullshit.
We need to stop pretending that people are arguing in good faith.
Yep.
In this context especially.
Yes.
The number of people who are arguing in good faith are about 5. Most of them are under 20, and they will probably be atheists by 30. Because people who are honest are not pulling this shit. Maybe young ones are imitating liars and con men like Hovind because they were raised on the con, and so they think it's legitimate. And I can have some sympathy for that. But nobody in the Trump administration is telling the truth about anything. Trump made one accurate statement one time when he said that smart people didn't like him. And I was kind of like surprised that lightning didn't strike and the earth didn't open up beneath him. I thought he had like a visceral allergy to accurate statements. But the truth of the matter is the courtesy is not the same as kindness. And as Daniel Dennett said that he learned from Christopher Hitchens, there is a time to be polite, and there is a time to be rude as you can be, and not let up.
And that's how I have to argue, and people get upset about that. I'm currently in an ongoing several days been in an argument with this guy who insists that I can't show him anything about macroevolution, specifically identified as species or the evolution of new species. Okay, so I show him the dog chart of genetics, right? I was saying, do you accept this as evidence that all of these different species have evolved from a common and ancestral canine? All of these are canines. The foxes, the dogs, the wolves, they all evolved from a common ancestral canine. Would you agree with that? Wouldn't answer the question. So it's been 6 days now. I posed the same question over and over again. He will not answer it. He insists that they're all the same species, that foxes are the same species as dogs, that foxes are the same species as coyotes, jackals, and wolves.
No,
but he will. If that was his argument, would that not mean that they all evolved from a common ancestral canine, right? But he won't answer that question.
And that would mean that llamas and camels are the same thing.
Yep.
Despite the Atlantic Ocean and whatnot. But we can't. Yeah. Even I, who am in no way an actual evolutionary biologist, know that much. But yeah, it's I think we need to stop asking content-related questions after the first round and just revert to, why won't you answer the question? Why won't you answer the question? Why won't you answer the question?
That's what this discussion for the last 9 days has devolved into. It's just me repeating the same question again and him coming up with a new sideways dodge to avoid answering it. Wherein he keeps insisting that wolves and coyotes and foxes and jackals are all the same species. Meaning, I'm guessing that they can all interbreed, but he won't tell me how he knows that they're all the same species.
Is he just using the word?
Did he use a 6-year-old?
Is he just using the word?
What do you say, Isaac?
Is he just using the word species as kind, like synonymous with kind?
Oh, well, then we'd have to define both species and kind, and he knows better than to say that they can. That his criteria is that they can all interbreed. He knows that's the reason he's going with, but he's not going to admit that to me because then he knows I'm going to point out shit that can't interbreed. Yeah. Anyway,
that can't and can, like mules alone. The existence of mules is just.
So I've got Bible scholars up here, and we're talking about biology. So let's read this.
It's only fair you to be the expert now and again.
Then Job answered, "I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Have windy words no limit? Windy words, I like that. Or what provokes you that you keep on talking? I also could talk as you do. If you were in my place, I would join words together against you and shake my head at you. I would encourage you with my mouth, and then solace of my lips would assuage your plan. If I speak, my pain is not assuaged. And if I refrain, how much of it leaves me? Surely now God has worn me out. He has made desolate all my company, and he has shriveled me up, which is a witness against me. My leanness has risen up against me, and it testifies to my face. He has torn me in his wrath and hated me. He has gnashed his teeth at me. My adversary sharpens his eyes against me. They have gaped at me with their mouths. They have struck me insolently on the cheek. They mass themselves together against me. God gives me up to the evil and casts me into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me in two. He seized me by the neck and dashed me to pieces. He has set me up as his target. His archers surround me. He slashes open my kidneys and shows no mercy. He pours out my gall onto the ground. He bursts upon me and again and again, and rushes at me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin. I have laid my strength in the dust. My face is red with weeping. My deep darkness is on my eyelids, though there is no violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. O earth, do not cover my blood. Let my outcry find no resting place. Even now, my witness is in heaven, and my advocate is on high. My friends scorn me. My eyes pour out tears to God, that he would maintain the right of a mortal with God, as one does for a neighbor. For when a few years have come, I shall go the way from which I shall not return.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
I genuinely like the language here. The Hebrew here is very, very fascinating. Especially I like in verse what was it, 12? Achaz beopi vayepatzpetzeni. Ooh, I like that word a lot.
Spitty.
Yepatzpetz.
Very spitty, which is appropriate for this context. Absolutely.
No,
There's a reason the term Job's comforters is an insult. Y'all are a bunch of Job's comforters. Like,
Yeah.
dude, shut the fuck up. You're not helping.
The thing about Job's comforters is that they are basically like the representations of ancient wisdom.
Yes.
Which Job famously denies and says, "What? Screw your ancient wisdom. I'm proof that ancient wisdom doesn't apply to anybody, or something like that."
Well, to everybody at least, but
not everybody.
And
but
he
like,
was right, and he was right.
Yeah.
Even
but
in canon.
But I do really like the language here. It's very visceral. Isobu alai rabav yefalach kilyotai velo yachabol yishpoch laaretz mererati. Ah, it's cool.
Yeah, interesting that Aaron's translation translated it as slashed my kidneys rather than pierced my kidneys. Because I feel like piercing,
yeah.
I mean,
piercing kind of brings up like imagery of like Jesus and stuff.
Oh, right, with stabbing in the side and can't have.
Yeah. But they can't. But they don't want. But the language sounds like Jesus, but the context doesn't. So they'll be like,
stricken by God and afflicted, though he was, faultless. That could kind of. I mean, you could work it into Jesus. I could work that into Jesus with far less trouble than I've heard.
Yeah. But like the reference is probably to bowmen piercing the kidneys, so like, I mean, seeing Jesus here is very is a stretch too far.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe.
I have some questions.
Wait. Aaron has questions.
Oh, I'm just saying. I had some questions about some of the verbiage, the choice of words translated. I'm reading the New Revised Standard Version, updated edition. If anybody's curious about that.
NRSV. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just curious. Maybe the Christian translations like chose / over pierced because they didn't want to. associate it with Jesus.
In verse 9, he talks about my adversary sharpens his eyes against me and gives me up to the evil in verse 12. It sounds like he's saying that does he recognize that this is Satan tormenting him at God's command, or does he just think it's God?
He accuses God.
He accuses God of giving him up to these things, as he should, which is entirely accurate, as you say. But
so
God
in verse 9, when it says the adversary, it's...
No, that doesn't refer to Satan. It refers to... The word is tsari, which tsari, like, generally refers to, like, an adversary or, like, an enemy. Seow renders it my foe. Or... Though, I see... It also notes that according to Olympiodorus and Symmachus has my adversaries, in plural, sharpen their eyes at me, which, if correct, takes this line with the next verse. Speshita reads similarly. Okay. But like...
verse 11, evil, it shouldn't really be translated as, like, the concept of evil. It's evil, or an evil man.
Avil.
Rather than, like...
I mean, the Hebrew word...
more like trouble, more like misfortune, which is, definitely bad for me, but not necessarily inherently a moral evil.
I think the Hebrew implies an actual evil thing, evil person, rather than, like, given to evil, like the concept. Does that make sense?
For which word?
Rashaim, maybe?
Avil. Verse 11.
In verse 11.
Like, JPS literally translates it as, God hands me over to an evil man. Thrust me into the clutches of the
fun
wicked,
that it sounds like evil, doesn't it?
It is, but also, Avil can also mean young boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thrust me into a young boy? What?
God hands
Oh, come on, let's not get Catholic with it.
Yeah.
But this is probably, and again, this is just probably I think this is probably just a guess on the basis of the of the lexicographers. I mean, the suggestion is aval, right, as opposed to avil.
Aval, yeah. The Seow also notes that manuscript Kennicott 196 has aval, ein vav lamed instead of avil, which is in Aleppo, Leningrad, and what else? Second Rabbinic Bible.
That seems more. Yes. Yeah, that seems more.
Which is the word that normally translates to a fool, right?
Yeah. I mean that's the. It's. I think it's appropriate to have ein vav lamed instead of ein vav yud lamed.
Yeah.
Because it is supported by all the translations, and it fits with the in the first line. Yeah. With the parallel term rashaim. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the second half of the verse is talking about evil people, the wicked people, and so it makes sense. The first verse is just a singular, an evil person or a fool.
Pope decides to go with the translation vicious instead of evil. God puts me in custody of the vicious, tosses me into the hand of the wicked.
The vicious, the wicked.
Oh, okay. I mean. Oh yeah. Okay.
And he also leaves no note on it, which is weird.
He leaves what?
No note on it.
On Avil?
Well, on that verse, actually.
Really?
That's the vicious sounds good as, like, in between, like evil and foolish.
Aval. Oh, it should be amended to Aval.
Okay.
Evildoer.
Which is more like evildoer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So should I start a commentary or is any more? Okay.
Sure. No
so I'll start with. So I'll start at verses 2 and 3. Hartley writes that Job tells his friends that he often has heard many such things, i.e., such comforting words. However, in his suffering, such comforts only increase his pain. He accuses his friends of being miserable comforters, in Hebrew menachamei amal, an ironic saying since their consolation only brings misery. This contrasts Eliphaz's viewpoint, where the friends' speech are God's consolations, as we see in 15:11. While Eliphaz ends his speech with the aphorism, quote, conceiving mischief, amal bearing iniquity, in 1535a, Job claims that it is the friends theologizing that conceives mischief to produce misery in him. He uses a rhetorical question to charge Eliphaz with uttering windy words, in Hebrew divrei ruach, or words without content, and counters both Eliphaz's and Bildad's reproaches that his knowledge and words are empty wind, in 8:2 and 15:2. Job asks Eliphaz what irritates him, in Hebrew himritz, so much that he feels compelled to keep answering. Job cannot fathom why Eliphaz is upset at him. On verses 4 and 5, Habel comments, quote, Verse 4 can be interpreted to mean that if Job and his friends changed places, he could be as derisive as they, or he could do a better job at providing the appropriate comfort. We favor the latter option since it is the role of the friends as comforters, quote unquote, which Job has raised in his opening words in verse 2b. Moreover, the parallel verbal roots shake, noah in 4d, and console, nod in 5b, can both mean shake the head in sympathy, whether it be genuine or false. Compare Psalms 22:8, which is 7, and Jeremiah 18:16. It had been the designated task of the friends to console, nod in 2:11. What they offered, however, were traditional gestures and verbal formulae that were too superficial to handle Job's problems.
No, go ahead. That's Lilith, right? Sorry, I'm not looking at the screen.
Sorry, I was just thinking it very much reminds me of, we're all old enough to have gone through shit in our lives, and at some point someone, is going to say one of those terrible platitudes, and they think they're doing you a favor, and they want you to act grateful that they said this horrible thing. And you really just want to punch them. And you're kind of like, why do I have to be the responsible one here? I'm the one going through hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I don't know. I just have a super nerdy thing here that I'm it's interesting. I didn't realize this before either, but the book of Job really uses the word milah a lot.
Mila.
For word, which is I need to do some more. I would need to do some more work on this, but my impression was always that this was quite a late term, and I think it's an Aramaic loan word, actually. Milah in Hebrew Milah in Aramaic is the common is kind of like the common replacement for davar in Hebrew. Which means word. It's milta in Syriac, but yeah, I don't know. It's for anybody who thought that this text was just super old, I mean, there's signs all over the place, but that's
that's the oldest book of the Bible, so I'm told. I forget how old they said it was. 2,600 years? No, more than that.
I'm just looking at I'm just looking it up here, and it says that it occurred in Job, in the speeches it occurs 34 times. Wow, that's a lot.
Arabic loan word.
Aramaic.
I mean that's
Aramaic,
yeah.
sorry.
I mean Tur-Sinai has maintained that the word and its ending betoken Aramaic influence. Maybe specifically milin in what is it 4:2.
In chapter
kind
4,
of like how odd it is that Shakespeare managed to write about lightsabers in his Star Wars.
Oh, though he Seow argues that while milin occurs 13 times in Job, milim in mem instead of nun occur 10 times. What all this means is that the term may not be strictly an Aramaism, rather the form contributes to the foreign flavor, though that flavor is but a literary affection.
Okay,
I gotta bring this.
I think we have enough examples of loan words, though.
So yeah, something
we do.
I just had to look this up. AI Overview says that the Book of Job is widely considered by many religious scholars and traditions to be the oldest book of the Bible, at least in its core story and setting. However, modern academic consensus often places this final written form much later than the other Old Testament texts during or after the Babylonian exile. In a subsequent paragraph, it says, that the many scholars and theologians point to several internal clues to suggest the events in the book of Job occurred during the patriarchal period, circa 2000 to 1500 BCE. A time before Mosaic law was established.
I'm going to be really, really charitable here and say that I think there's some. I suspect that there's a story that the written book of Job as we have it is based on like stories that were circulating for a long time. And I mean, we have examples from other cultures, other texts, right, in the ancient Near East that date back to the middle early Bronze Age that bear similar traits to what transpires in the book of Job. So sure, I'll give them that. But
it's funny. I was just thinking the same thing sort of, but with a twist. I was thinking it reminds me of Wicked. I mean, yeah, the movie just came out and there was the musical before that, which is basically the same story. But the thing about Wicked is it's not an original story. It's an original take on an old story. Same sort of thing they did with Shrek, taking the fairy tale, turning it on its head. Now, the fairy tale has been around for fucking ever. And The Wizard of Oz not that long, but it definitely longer.
Feels like forever.
It feels like forever, I know. But oh, let's not get into Munchkinland. But at the same point, it's not just that it's referencing the old story. It's questioning and criticizing the end of the old story. This bit here where they're talking about all this ancient wisdom, which people still spout this bullshit today, that, you must have brought it on yourself and, it's your karma or it's the will of God or it's, it must be a punishment because you or maybe someone in your bloodline did a bad thing and something blood curses. I've heard all kinds of crazy bullshit. Some of it more obviously insane, but all of it unjust. This is clearly set in ye olden days from the perspective of the writer. But it's a direct response to the idea of this traditional wisdom. I think it's basically Wicked for whatever the original story would have been. And yes, maybe the original story is uber old in some form. Like the Cinderella fairy tale, who knows how long it was passed around before you ended up with the Grimm version. I don't know. That's my hypothesis. What do you think, Kev?
No, yeah, I think that's sort of in line with what I'm thinking about it too. As I think we pointed this out, like the writer of the book of Ezekiel knows who Job is. As early as the 6th century BCE. If we're taking a traditional approach to Ezekiel. And he lumps him in with these other figures like Noah and Danel from deep antiquity. So there seems to be like this long-standing tradition about this figure, Job. So I think that's and yeah, it's I think that's probably right. How far we can go with what anything original looked like or where the new version is
how much could you extrapolate the Wizard of Oz and its actual original point settings and attitudes?
You'd have to know that
from Wicked,
right? If all you knew was Wicked, you'd never exactly, you'd never know.
You'd get a vague general idea of the story. There would definitely be overlapping points and maybe, but yeah, there's no way you would get backwards all the way.
And by the way, I know nothing about Wicked except for the fact that Disney Plus really seems to want me to watch it.
Well, the movie version just came out. It's a musical based on a book. Well, okay, it's a movie based on a musical based on a book, but it's questioning the idea of the Wicked Witch, looking at perhaps historic contexts. There's a lot of sort of, it's like the backstory of how they got there also. And yeah, it adds a lot more depth to the characters, sort of questioning the very cartoonish.
Is it good?
It is good. It is good. It's a good story.
Have you seen the movie?
I've seen the movie, and while I do not appreciate the songs like some other people would, I do like a lot of the things that they did in this film. There's like subtle messages and such.
It's still
in
a
there,
musical, though, right?
Yeah. I've seen the play here in London, and it was really good. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Like,
and London is the best place to see something like that. I saw it in London.
Well, that's not fair. That's like if you go to Broadway.
I mean, the Book of Mormon was good as well. I would say the Book of Mormon is probably more interesting.
I saw the Book of Mormon in London as well.
Of course, you did.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Yes, they recently released a translation of cuneiform tablet, which had a part of a Sumerian myth that we've never seen before, and it's a brand new story. It's about like the god Ishgor who's the storm god, but he's in charge of fertility and like spring or whatever, and he gets trapped in the underworld, and so the world is stuck in winter or whatever. And Fox, like the sort of trickster divine figure, volunteers to save. All the gods are like busy. They got better things to do. And so Fox is like, okay, I'll go rescue, but we don't actually see what happens to him at the end of the story. And like, even though this is a completely new myth, like there are aspects of it that are still preserved in like other stories. Like the whole idea of like, why is a fox the cleverest or the cunning one or whatever? It's like,
well, the fox is a cunning one is a meme, but also the whole, god or goddess of spring being trapped in the underworld, someone having to rescue them. Like it's
very much Persephone.
Of course, he's a clever guy. He's managed to live in the city since he was 12 by making a reasonable income, and he's always looking out for Judy Hopps while she's a little bit flighty and inconsistent. So yeah, he's definitely the wise character. I'm sorry, are we still talking about movies and popular culture?
Tropes are tropes, and tropes will trope. But I think it's really interesting that directly sort of inverting and commenting on a trope is so popular right now because of Wicked, and it's been something going on for a while. And we see that here something similar is going on with the idea of this traditional wisdom, and maybe it's actually not.
Sorry, I'm watching the chat here, and I feel like I have missed. So this morning is the first Saturday in a very long time that I haven't drug my ass out of bed and worked on audio files for an audiobook, because now it's all finished and it's in process to be. I had hoped it'd be available before Christmas, but it kind of looks like that's not going to happen. Totally out of my control, but so that's it's nice to be here. It's nice to wake up on a Saturday morning and not feel like you have to chain yourself to the desk and work on boring audio shit. So
do you know how long the audiobook is?
I know exactly how long the audiobook is. It's 23 hours, 48 minutes, and 19 seconds.
Okay.
So it's
and nobody's going to listen.
It's
a whole day of my life is gonna go
all
away
day just for nothing.
Okay, first of all, audiobooks are great because you can multitask.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to ingest.
I can't learn from hearing. I need to learn from reading. That's the only thing I know.
So I mean, you can buy like a normal copy of the book too, Tomer. You won't, but I mean, you could.
I mean, I could, but I'm poor right now. I'm a master student, and I'm not even allowed the minimum wage. So just wait. I promise. Remind me to buy your future retracted book. Then.
The nice thing about retracted books is after they get retracted, you can get them for free. So
exactly.
This is maybe this is my great gift to humanity. Perhaps is that my retracted book, one of my retracted books, I believe is the only free thing that you can actually get from Brill.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I know.
From Brill.
Right?
That's
From
crazy.
Brill. Brill. There's something free on Brill.
On Brill.
And it has my name on it. So,
but it's also
Good.
retracted.
Yeah.
Kip, I would like very much when this thing gets published and you want to promote it, if I could, be one of the people that gets to interview you on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to ingest 23 hours of continuous recording.
Yeah.
But I know that it's even harder if I try to read it, because what I find that happens to me, my mentality, I will read some word in a paragraph that prompts me to think about something else, and then I somehow shard where I can read 3 or 4 paragraphs after that, and I'm thinking of this other thing.
I've done it for 3 pages once.
Yeah,
huh?
I get that.
I've done the same thing. Same thing.
Okay.
3 pages once. Absolutely. Wow. And I was like, where the fuck am I? What am I? Brain? Because all the words, I observed all the words and ran them together. So I just did not absorb a single thing.
But I find that audiobooks, like when I'm on a road trip in particular,
that's the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Jim?
So that's,
I had to drive to Kentucky from Dallas and back, and that's when I heard Your Inner Fish.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a great book, by the way.
To be fair, I don't think I could. I'm not sure if I could handle Kip's voice for 24 hours. That'd be crazy.
I know we're all ribbing each other as friends. I think I could. I will say that I like Kip's voice a little bit better than that.
I mean, I guess I was told last week that I sound uncannily like one Dr. Richard C. Carrier, and I'm not entirely sure I don't know how to take that, but I don't know.
Was this friend by any chance British?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That means they really, really like you, because that's the most insulting thing they could say to you, and they know it. So that's the thing with the British. Sometimes they're genuinely intolerant, but sometimes people just think they're intolerant, because if you say you want to be treated equally and like friends, they'll tell you to fuck off, because that's how they treat their friends. They're weird. Only polite to people they don't like.
Well, that does make me feel better, because it was weird. It was the first time we've ever actually met. And I thought for a minute maybe he might be joking, but he really seemed sincere.
Deadpan humor. I mean, that is the British way. I literally, half my ancestry is British. My sister lives in England, and I was raised on Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So, that is a thing. That is definitely such a thing.
Yeah, we need to move on, because but I would just finish off by saying I would hope that listening to my voice is not such an arduous experience as it would be listening to a certain now disgraced Egyptologist or Michael Jones from Inspiring Philosophy, so that
I can't even joke about it. Yes,
or a perpetually horny math guy.
Who's that? Who's the perpetually horny math guy? That is
Tomer.
Well,
is that you, Tomer?
If AI doesn't take over everything and we're actually allowed voice actors in the future, I have some singing vocal training that's probably transferable, so I'm always available.
While I was working on this, my son actually said to me, "Why don't you just just plug it into AI?" And I just about punched him, but I should have punched him. Shouldn't
that
I?
was the correct
response.
I think that would have been right. Yeah.
He's an adult. I can hit him when he's an adult.
I'm so sick. I'm so sick of AI. Like,
God.
There not only are there like the issues of like it literally taking people's jobs, but there's also the issue of like it just ruins all creativity. Like people just don't even want to like learn things anymore.
The incompetence is stunning. The minute that my gym got AI helping with the administrative tasks, it was like they only had one idiot behind the counter, and he couldn't do anything. He's just not functional.
Oh, one thing I should mention, and I really don't want to harp on it too long because I know Tomer's getting antsy.
Wait. I have the prop.
I have a what?
Go ahead. Anyway, you were saying
I think his thing was just to leave. Yeah. So there was this video about it was just police body cam footage, but it was very, very well done, Dover, very well done. So it was just police body cam footage, but the thing is, the cop, like the system that this casino had to identify somebody, it was completely run by AI, and the guy who, like, it was a case of mistaken identity where the AI said that it was actually somebody else, and the cop was believing the AI over all the evidence that the guy presented to identify himself, and then he got arrested. So
I hope the cop gets arrested.
I hope there's a lawsuit. I hope there's a lawsuit.
It's literally idiocracy, but the automatic turrets work and are racist.
Oh God!
Just
oh
so
God,
you know,
we're all
Isaac,
fucked.
Isaac, literally in the comments section of that video, I said we are truly living in idiocracy.
Yes. Oh, guys, also, side note, there's a trend going on with face paint makeup in, I think, Sweden and a couple other places in Europe where they have found makeup stylized trends very thick, but it specifically will not let AI read your face. So, just an idea.
Yes.
I'm just against the whole thing about automation taking over jobs.
Especially intelligent jobs.
Yeah, there's a trucking line in Arizona that runs from Tucson to Phoenix, which is not a great big drive, but it is an automated truck. So that, and they're practicing this to replace truck drivers, which is like, is a massive industry in this country. And when you take away 40% of the jobs, how can you complain when people don't have a job? How can you complain when people say, well, can you give us universal income because you've taken all the jobs away, right? And so you end up with like 8 people who get all of the money, and then everybody else can just fucking starve. I don't like going over to the grocery store and you've got 9 different places for the, you know, for your self checkout, but you still have to have a human monitor those. But you can't. But they've got like 11 checkout stations and they're all empty because they've just decided, well, after 8 o'clock, we're just going to do the automated checkout. Mm-hmm. I want to do a human. I want to have, when I call a company, it used to be that you could call somebody faster than driving down there, but it is now, because AI takes over everything. We've got an EVR or IVR now. I have to go through so much bullshit. I'd like to get you to someone who can help you, but first, speak to me in complete sentences. You can say things like, how can I help you? And so the answer...
Yell lawyer at it until you get a person.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I have to do. We have to find a way to get to the operator, because the problem, how can I assist you today? It's always, the answer is always operator. Give me a live person. Give me somebody that exchanges gases and can understand the implications of words. That's always the answer. It's never anything else. It's, no, you can't help me, you automated piece of shit. Get me a person. And it's so it has now become easier for me to jump on my bike and ride down to someplace than to call them. If I know where they physically are, I will go there, because it takes less time to walk in the door and say, here's my issue or whatever, than it takes to call them. If I had somebody calling from the house and me riding down to wherever the office is, I will have the job taken care of before the other person sitting at home on the phone can even get through to a living person.
Yeah, I worked at a call line, so I know that companies will respond quickly to the words lawyer or press. Use that information as wisely as you can.
Yeah, which you just broadcasted on podcast.
All right, let's hop back into the Bible, shall we?
Oh, is that what we're doing?
No, we can't, because we have one comment. No, actually, yes, one comment.
Comments.
2 comments, actually, 2.
Jamie Wells. Well, you're right. There is 2 comments, and I jumped to the wrong one. But I started with this one. Shows Jamie Wells 777 says, "Awesome fucking rant, Aaron. Thank you, thank you for that." And then My Unfinished Song says, "Hail Aaron, Lilith, Lawrence, Isaac, Tomer, and Dr. Not a Weasel, author of." All right, Tomer, are you gonna quit holding us back and get your shit done?
You know what? I'm not going to have. I'm not going to hold a grudge. You know, I'm going to accept it because of course, you know, of course.
Of course.
Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say I will be back with the weasels tonight on my channel. So.
Sounds fun.
Weasels?
Oh yeah, my co-host is a trench coat filled with weasels for my Saturday night show.
Well,
and
yeah,
he's an astrophysicist.
I see no problem with
really,
this.
it's really impressive for weasels to be astrophysicists.
Yes.
True.
I mean, aren't all astrophysicists a little crazy? Not in a bad way.
Yes.
Crazy in a good way?
Where was I? Yes, verse 8. 45 minutes in. Clines notes that Job's statement in verse 8, despite some uncertainties, means that he's in extreme condition brought about by God. No, sorry, that his extreme condition brought about by God serves as proof by others that Job has sinned, based on the doctrine of exact retribution. Thus, his leanness, quote unquote, is not a symptom of his skin disease, but rather, quote, a mark of his mental suffering, and is perhaps more something felt by Job than observed by his companions, end quote. Clines notes that this thinking is based on the idea that fatness signifies prosperity, which in turn signifies divine pleasure. Compare 21, 23, and 24, and 15, 27. And thinness signifies what is dried up and devoid of life. Job's sense of being dried up echoes previous images like the wind-blown leaf and withered straw in 1325, and by contrast, the image of the rejuvenated tree in 14:7 through 9.
So what I'm hearing is that I should not go on a diet because that would make me cursed by God?
Yes, let's go with that. Yeah, body imagery. No.
Body positivity.
Body
absolutely.
positivity. Yes. Body positivity. Yeah, of course.
No, we can call it that.
Yeah. Okay, on verse 9, Habel writes that previously Job wished that God would hide him in Sheol until his anger, Af, had passed in 1413. This anger continues to haunt Job, which functions like a vicious alter ego and renders God's opponents limp and helpless. Habel parallels this with Anath in the Baal myths, attacking like a ferocious wild beast that rends and tears the flesh of its prey. The teeth of God, like Leviathan, strike terror in the hearts of mortals. The term anger can also mean nose or snout, as we see in Exodus 58, which is consistent with the metaphor of a wild beast. Likewise, the eyes of this beast are dangerous as his teeth, as they also pierce like sharp swords. The eye is the symbol of God's surveillance operations, which penetrate Job's defenses and hound him to death, as we see in 7:8, 10 verses 4, 14 and 18, 13:27, and 14:3.
Getting real sci-fi up in here.
Yeah.
Laser eyes.
Yeah. This image of God is somewhat reminiscent of Satan in 1 Peter 5:8, which might be alluded to with the verb referring to God raging against or pursuing Satam, his prey.
I tell you, I wonder how many religious ideas come from people listening to, a person speak metaphorically and insisting on taking it literally. Like, I've looked at the sky and said the sky looks angry. Or even the sky is angry, because you can feel it. You can feel the energy. You can see the clouds and the kind of vibe. But the sky is not actually conscious and mad at me, and I am aware of that. And apparently, this is a thing that needs to be said.
See, I didn't go to Peter right away when I thought of that image. The place I went was the Book of Daniel.
Oh, fair.
And the beast that emerges from the sea with the teeth of iron, that has bones in his mouth, and is told to tear flesh and eat. So, which is, and a lot of this is
Pacific Rim?
Based. Yeah,
I mean,
that's it. A lot of this is based on like Canaanite and other Mesopotamian mythical tropes about divine beings.
Yeah, and by this point in time, it's become kind of, at least the myths themselves have been kind of castrated, right? But the language is still
Yes.
very much there.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna get some more coffee.
Valid. More coffee is always the correct answer.
Okay, on 13, Nachmanides writes that Job referred to his kidneys to express his great sorrow by exaggeration. As attested in Lamentations 3:13, he has shot into my vitals, keliotai, and Lamentations 2:11, my liver, kavdi, or kvedi, I don't have the nikud here, spills on the ground. He notes that Chazal in Talmud Chulin 43a taught that Job's kidneys were actually pierced, and his gall was spilled, and to them it was a miracle that he lived. Kimchi saw the reference to the kidneys as a play on Chaf Lamed He, to long for, as seen in Psalms 119:81, quote, I long for your deliverance, end quote, Kaleta leteshuatecha. Clines writes that the kidneys are depicted here as the most sensitive and vital part of the human anatomy, as well as a seat of emotion and affection. Thus, God's assault on him was not only lethal, but was directed against Job's affections. Likewise, the gall, merara, symbolically refers to Job's bitterness, from the root mem resh resh, be bitter. Thus, if the affections and sympathies of Job are assaulted, then it is bitterness that spills out.
We have always associated with certain internal organs, with certain emotional states or ideas of character and things. You know, you'll be in my heart. That got me right in the gut. Yeah, it's always been a thing.
You've got some gall to say something like, oh, I guess you don't anymore. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well, Job doesn't. Apparently, he's just sitting there with his internal organs liquefying out onto the ground, and he's still bitching, which is impressive.
And still bitching.
Yeah. On 14, Seow notes that Job portrays God's assault on him as an attack on a walled city, even though the assault on him is only an even though the assaulted is only an individual, one who has already been broken. The phrase, he breached me, breach upon breach, is repeated to convey relentless devastation, and the repeated peretz gives way to yaratz, to mimic the eventual breach. Yafaretzeni peretz al pnei peretz, and yarutz alai kagibor. God appears here as a divine warrior, who charges a defenseless enemy. Elsewhere in the Bible, God is referred to as a warrior in conjunction with his fight on behalf of his own, as we see in Judges 6:12, Isaiah 42:13, and Zephaniah 1:14. Bringing salvation in Jeremiah 20:11 and Zephaniah 3:17, and ensuring justice in Deuteronomy 10:17 and 18. Here, however, this warrior attacks as if it is against a fortified city, only to mount a charge against a lone person. Seow suggested that Job takes issue with Eliphaz, who accused the wicked of playing the warrior, Yitgaber, in 1525, and charging against God, 1526, Yarutz Alav, and, quote, the hostility was initiated by God against an innocent man, end quote.
Yeah, that is what happened. So.
I can't remember where the quote is from, but there's like, oh, this city is impregnable. Give me 30 men and I'll impregnate that bitch or something like that.
Game of Thrones. Yeah. When Tyrion is looking at breaking into his father's old castle. Yeah, give me 30 good men and I'll impregnate that bitch.
Or something like that. Yeah, so that's kind of what it was. I was thinking about when reading that verse for some reason.
My unfinished sock says, don't continue bitching with your guts hanging out on the ground. Like and share the stream instead.
Thank you.
Just a second.
That is one nice thing about Isaac's position, though. He doesn't have to worry about impregnation.
That's true.
Yep.
It's very uncommon in his community.
Yeah.
It really sucks because of the breeding kink, but yeah, he doesn't. He just can't get pregnant.
This is an observation that's been made by a number of excuse me, biblical scholars and sociologists. Actually, let me grab something.
That doesn't stop us from trying.
You know, if the Lord wills it.
So, all right, what you got for us? Yep.
This is men and masculinity in the Hebrew Bible and beyond. Edited by Ovidio Krienga. Sorry, he's got a funny little like a little circumflex, upside down circumflex on the last letter of his last name. I'm not entirely sure where he's from, but he excuse me. There's a bunch of interesting essays
Romanian.
in this. Pardon?
It's probably Romanian.
Okay. There's a bunch of interesting essays in this volume about, in particular, about how masculinity manifests itself in these images of battle, and in terms of seizure and breach of cities. In the conquest narratives and in the stories of David in particular. There's some stuff in the book of Jeremiah, where this kind of language is used in sort of a sexualized manner. Men are men because they
pierce things with their big swords.
They get inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it came to mind, by the way. So this is it was, I think this was 2010. Yeah, but this is it's where the very first thing that I ever published is in this book. But
oh, good for you.
That's
yes.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay, where was I? 15 and 16. Habel calls Job's condition utterly pathetic, quote unquote. Wearing sackcloth next to his skin like a person in mourning, bearing his horn, i.e. pride, seen in Psalms 75:6, which is 5, and 92:11, which is 10, in the dust, and not challenging his adversary. Chagrining, yeah. Chagrining, maybe, or
no, challenging
Yeah.
maybe might be the right.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's
I
how's
think
it spelled?
it's Chagrining.
Yeah, chagrin. Yeah, chagrin.
Chagrin.
Yeah. Chagrining his adversary in retaliation. Job is portrayed as somebody who laments a death with eyes raw from weeping and surrounded by dark, ominous rings. This condition, however, is not due to penitence, but rather, quote, the deadly onslaughts of his God, end quote. Clines notes that some commentators have tried to find more naturalistic interpretations of verse 16. Davidson suggested that involuntary weeping could be a symptom of elephantiasis, identified by many as the skin disease Job has. Some English translations remove death from darkness of death, al-mavet, assuming that death is not physically visible, and translate my eyelids, af-api, by my eyes, since literally speaking, the eyes and not eyelids become dark. Thus, NIV reads, deep shadows ring my eyes. Clines, however, writes that the symbolism reaches deeper. Quote, what happens to a man whose eyelids are shadowed over by the darkness of death is not simply that he does not look a pretty sight, but that he can no longer with ease see the light, which is to say live. He is already beginning to experience the gloom of the land of deep darkness that he is bound for in 10, 21, and 22.
Sounds like depression. I admit I don't know if elephantitis causes perpetual crying, but I do know burying 10 children does.
Dr. Kip, I think it's something like Ovido Kranka.
Oh, I always thought that the A with that specific thing above it is like like Kreyang.
Oh,
I thought that's what it was. I could be wrong.
I asked our resident
myself,
Romanian.
Yeah.
So
I think
That's the
I think it's
Reformed
short sound.
Egyptian style.
Reformed Egyptian.
I miss reading the Reformed Egyptians. I wish Mormons were real.
Oh, have you ever seen Ward Radio, Tomer?
No,
You'd get a
I
kick.
have a
You'd
life.
get a kick out of. You get a kick
Wait.
out of Ward Radio.
Wait, do we have time for this?
Mormons only exist in fiction.
And I don't think we do. I mean, an hour passed and we haven't finished this chapter.
All right.
Well, quit holding shit up, Tomer.
It's probably my
with
fault.
your weird conspiracy theories about whether my family exists.
Yeah. Okay, on 17, Hartley comments, quote, Job grounds the intensity of his lament in his innocence. Because he has done no violence and his prayer is pure, he cries out for vindication. Job chooses language similar to that found in the liturgy of confession that worshippers made before entering the temple precinct, to compare Psalms 24:4. Job is confessing that he has done no wrong. There is no transgression of his, which could be the reason for the hostile way God is treating him. He asserts that his prayer is pure. His words have been spoken to God honestly and fervently. He has not uttered empty or false words merely to get God to help him. An ancient worshipper believed that God would more likely answer a prayer from pure motives. Compare Psalm 17:1. Job is earnestly seeking to move God to respond to him through his words, even though these words are filled with a biting complaint against God's treatment of him. The daring of Job's approach is only tempered by his uncompromising search for an encounter with God.
And that is absolutely held up as a virtue, to have a pure heart in seeking God. And then, if you don't find him, obviously it's because your heart wasn't pure.
That was verse 22, right? Was that we're at the end now?
7. That was 17.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I am paying attention, honest.
Me too. Yes, verse 19, and it is the longest. Yeah, I see. Maybe Orange should be the comment.
We have unapologetically Chrissy.
Chrissy!
Yeah, I wonder why they're in the chat and not. Oh, never mind.
This is not that same Chrissy.
Okay. All right. So there's a free to use pronunciation dictionary online with many languages that may be helpful for this panel. Why, thank you. We should give that to Tomer, and I would ignore it when I have to read.
Excuse me. Are you accusing me of not knowing the English?
See, Hablis the Spaniel?
Quay?
Okay.
It's helpful to know some common IPA symbols, but there's a lot. So,
Danger Man 1973 offers $4.99. Thank you very much. It says, I would really like to some word that rhymes with lunch, God, and Jesus.
I would like to some word that rhymes with lunch, God, and Jesus.
I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere.
Maybe, but I also feel like there's a word missing.
I think this person learned English from Tomer.
That's funny.
Excuse me, I've recently read John Keats. I think I know. Yes.
I now want to learn Spanish from Tomer.
I would definitely like some clarification on this question, though. I don't know if it's a joke or not.
I think he wants some words that rhyme with these 3 words, because maybe he's writing something. I don't know why lunch, God, and Jesus, but yeah.
I was born in 1973.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Just the cutest little muffin. Yeah, 1970. You were born then.
Right?
Yeah. That was the year. Oh, actually, my mom was born that year. Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't want to say, but Kennedy was president.
Yes. My final comment on this chapter is in verse 19. The exact identity of the witness on high is unclear. Many traditionals identified this witness as God, such as Rashi, Rashbam, Nachmanides, and Ibn Kaspi. A viewpoint shared by several scholars like Hartley, Hakham, Tur-Sinai, Gordis, etc. Seow notes that in an artistic representation of this verse in a 12th century manuscript, Bibliotheca Vaticana GR 1231, folio 244V, the witness is Jesus.
I was just about to say. I was just about to say, is that a Latin manuscript?
Sounds like a squirrel,
Byzantine.
but I think the answer is Jesus.
I think it's a Byzantine, if I remember correctly, but I need to check.
Wow.
Wait, what's the name of the manuscript?
Biblioteca Vaticana GR 1231.
Well, if it's
Vaticanus,
Vaticana, then it would be like it definitely sounds like a Latin manuscript, but I can double check it.
Who knows?
Yeah, but then I should see what exactly it is.
And for my next Spanish lesson from Tomer, ¿Dónde está de biblioteca?
Biblioteca. I don't know. It's with TH.
I'm wondering if this is just me. This is nothing. But I wonder if the AD, the witness in the mind of the writer here is also recalling the place of the Satan in this dispute. As his accuser, does he then also have an advocate on the other side?
And if Satan is the title, like prosecuting attorney, is he accusing God of being Satan in this context? That would not be unreasonable.
No, I think he's saying that he's been, because it says God gives me up to the evil, and cast me into hand. So it's saying that he's so he wouldn't be saying that God would be acting in that role. He'd be saying that God would be the judge here again.
Yeah, like he's just in the court of El, like it's El's court, and everybody fights in front of him, kind of thing, and then he decides who wins. So it's yeah.
Where did we ever get the idea the gods were just?
I'll continue. He writes, however, Seow writes, that when God is called witness elsewhere, it is always in the sense of a hostile witness, not a friendly one.
Yeah.
As we see in 1 Samuel 12:5, Jeremiah 29:23, 42:5, and Micah 1:2. Moreover, there is no suggestion elsewhere that God plays a supportive role for Job, in contrast to Job's portrayal of the injustice of a moral universe, where God is at once judge and litigant, as we see in 9:32-35 and 13:3-16. Thus, some commentators suggested that the reference is to a divine being who is opposite of the adversary.
Hey.
Someone like Yes. Someone like a celestial intermediary of Zechariah 3:1, according to Newsome and Ballantine, or a personal god, according to Curtis, or an imaginary counter-god, according to Zuckerman. Clines, however, writes that there is no personal witness in heaven. What is in heaven now, quote-unquote, is Job's own protestation of innocence, and his formal deposition that requires God to give an account of himself. He writes, quote, by addressing himself to heaven, Job has ensured, even though he has not been answered and expects no answer in his lifetime, that the truth about his innocence has been placed on record in the heavenly count. It is lodged there and remains Job's perpetual witness to his character, end quote. Seow suggested that the restless cry is personified as a witness in heaven, with the next verse, my intermediary is my outcry, supporting this view. He writes, quote, though utterly devastated with his whole assemblage, disintegrated to the point that part of him bears false witness against him in verse 8, other aspects of him nevertheless persist. His cry will not rest as it calls for justice to be done. It will bear witness for him. His eye, even if he is disintegrated, will not give up. It will be vigilant, alert to God in verse 20b. Job's outcry is personified as the go-between, compare 9:33, to effect right with God on behalf of the human, the problem laid out in the second stanza, verses 7-17, and between that person and his friends, the problem of the first stanza, verse 2-6.
What the fuck is an imaginary counter
god?
What the fuck is an imaginary counter god?
Does it mean like a literary device?
Wait,
Like the thing, like from the writer's perspective, like a literary, like imaginary, like from the writer's perspective.
Isn't that Satan?
It's kind of like I'm gonna guess
Satan,
it's like it's my guess.
Like a theoretical.
My guess is like it's like playing devil's advocate. except in this case that has a different connotation.
Devil's opposition, because the devil is the opposition in your. It's maybe it's a bit like saying if I get a state assigned prosecutor, how come I don't get a defense attorney?
Oh,
I mean, it's very.
I think the traditional commentators just see it as God, the witness is God, well,
obviously, yeah.
And
I can check real quick on the book.
Who was that? Who was the author?
Zuckerman Bruce Zuckerman.
Oh, Bruce Zuckerman. Okay. Yeah. That tracks.
Like he also calls if we once we get to 1925 about the Goel, he also calls the Goel a counter deity to oppose the real deity.
Yeah.
So the counter deity is not a deity; it's a pseudo deity.
So this is
like a theoretical construction of one.
Like
imaginary.
Yeah. See, this is I feel like this is what sometimes happens or used to happen, maybe hopefully is not happening as much in scholarship. Was this fairly rigid insistence that by this time within the maybe we can call this early Jewish imagination, there was no there was just one God. There was an emerging monotheism. Maybe that's maybe where this is coming from, which is abject nonsense.
Oh, absolutely.
At this point,
even claimed monotheism never forgets its polytheistic roots, and they only grow more. That's why Christianity keeps having revivals every 10 years, so a new crop of people can try to stay monotheistic and fail with worse music.
Okay, so so I have this is from Zuckerman's Job: The Silent: A Study in Historical Counterpoint, 1991, page 115. He writes that, indeed, Job's phantom vindicator is the mirror image of God, the offended suzerain. For, if the latter typically takes on the role of judge-prosecutor, then the former is portrayed by the poet as judge-advocate. Let's see.
Phantom vindicator. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't got to It Must Be Jesus yet.
Oh, but we did. In the
Phantom vindicator
in the manuscript, yes.
Yeah.
Though, I need to just do this quickly.
I'm sure if Tomer was also consulting shitty commentaries, there would be lots and lots of that too.
I try to avoid that.
Almost be exclusively that.
Displeasure.
Yes, pretty much.
All of our both real homes and fantasy background homes could not contain the books that would include.
Yeah. We have a shitty commentator segment that Tomer has a musical intro for as well.
That's but true. those are the ancient ones. I'm talking about like people who are still alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or recently passed.
I need my capo. Just a second.
And I really don't like the idea that people call those commentaries. Like it is technically a commentary.
The high level devotionals might be better.
Yeah,
oh,
because
my God.
like it's just like how can this help you in the faith today, or like what does this mean for?
I'm having my utmost for his highest flashbacks. Thanks a lot, Dr. Keb.
But yeah, it's something I always do my best to avoid. Like if I'm seeing someone going down that route, I'm putting the book down. I'm just like, no, I can't do this. There's nothing critical about this.
That is church.
All right, time for the worship music.
Yes. Guess who's talking about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Guess who's talking about Jesus? It's the ancient Christians again.
A bop. You're muted.
Oh, thank you. I recently published a new song, so. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, cool. And from the comments that I got on the Discord, people enjoyed it, so I'm very thankful. So
that's lovely.
Join the Discord to listen to my song, damn it.
And I'm also gonna criticize it for not being metal enough.
From what we've learned previously, you hate 99% of all songs that exist. So,
that is true. Yeah.
yes.
I
mostly not metal.
hate
Yeah.
99% of all
Not
songs
enough
that
metal.
exist.
I think all the musical attention this week has gone to Weird Al Yankovic for actually singing Killing in the Name of without a single Alism of any kind.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to parody it.
Yeah, that's the but Dr. I am Pagliacci moment. That's the canary in the coal mine telling you to go fuck yourself, breaking out of his cage and leaving you to die.
I am the one who knocks.
I am the one who knocks. Absolutely. This.
You're gonna have to clue me in on this when we're done here, Lilith. So
I am
Okay.
also unaware.
I stole that from a guy on TikTok, so you can look it up.
So I do have one Christian, because all the Christians just not very interesting. Philip, I think it's Philip the priest, who said that Job's words contain a prophetic message announcing the passion of Christ and his apostles.
Prophetic
In
message.
12 to 15, yes. So
my
that's what he
And
writes.
his apostles.
That's
Yes.
that's the
The
part with the
apostles.
slashing open of kidneys.
That's what he writes. So God locked me beside these iniquities and delivered me into the hand of the impious, that is, beside the devil and his angels. But this sentence must also be interpreted as a reference to Christ when he was delivered into the hands of the Jews. Quote, I who was once rich was suddenly trampled underfoot. He held my neck, broke me, and set me as a sign. That is, from rich he became poor, or as Christ, who from being God was born a man. That is, he abandoned me to his spears, wounded my loins, and did not spare them, and he scattered my entrails on the ground. The spears mentioned in this passage can be seen as the seizures of pain that Job suffered, but they must also be interpreted as the blasphemies that Christ suffered from the Jews. The words, he wounded my loins, must also be read as a reference to Christ. In fact, the Jews persecuted the apostles to such a degree that they wounded with the injury of infidelity and the denial of Christ those holy men who were born, in a sense, from the loins of Christ's doctrine. Peter, in fact, said, I do not know the man, in what is this, MK?
Mark.
What is MK? Mark, okay,
Yeah,
Mark 1471.
I like the imagery of we set Jesus as a sign. We just like made it into a road sign.
Like those, remember all those little slave children crucified on the way to the city so that Daenerys decided to kill everybody because they really earned it? Yeah. Like that!
They really, really, really hated the Jews, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of been Christianity's thing.
This is where it's like, I mean, I think about the really pathetic and gross appropriation that takes place in a lot of modern evangelical spaces, and I'm looking at you, Messianics. Like, is it any wonder that that Jewish people take such offense at these lowbrow efforts to turn your fantasies into something
into somebody else's historical religion,
right? Yeah, it's so gross. It's so gross. When you consider, when you take a proper historical approach to this and recognize what the fuck has been going on for like literally thousands, because it's more than one of years.
No, I mean, I get it.
You can see elements of it all throughout history and throughout writings. You look at the, Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. You can see how the Jews are treated there. I mean, Ivanhoe. You don't even need to read history. Honestly, get some more insights from fiction in some ways about cultural norms and things. But I made the point that many years ago that I think Christianity broke white people. Because seriously, think about it. It's a colonialist mindset in the deepest sense. Because if you are a Christian, no matter what variety you are, even the more reasonable ones, in order to be a Christian, you have to fundamentally believe that you understand the God and the scripture of the Jews better than the Jews.
Well,
talk about appropriation.
That seemed consistent with all of the Christians that I talked to. They understand science better than the scientists, history better than historians.
Well, they are an academic bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Who's
almost
reading
like
chapter
Christianity
17,
makes
by the way?
Very personal.
Yeah, maybe we should give the Canadian a chance. I'm not gonna say who Canadian exactly, but I'm going to say that it is the more
My turn.
Canadian. Yes.
No, I think you mean Kip.
The more what Canadian?
I'm going to get into troubles again.
Oh.
I mean, Dr. Kip is visiting.
He is our visiting professor. It would be incredibly rude if we didn't let him.
Of course.
But I also say I feel like Lilith hasn't actually read a chapter in a while.
I don't mind not reading, but I can read I can read it. So, and I'm going to have to I'll probably only be able to stick around for another 15 or 20 minutes. So, you guys can actually get some shit done.
No, because when you're gone, we've still got Tomer.
Nice. I don't know. Do you?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Just power through it quick. I have faith in you.
Okay. I will read chapter 17, and I'm reading the 1985 version of the JPS.
Yeah, and put some emotion into it.
I'll do my best, because I'm such a deadpan sort of guy. My spirit is crushed, my days run out. The graveyard waits for me. Surely mocking men keep me company, and with their provocations I close my eyes. Come now, stand surety for me. Who will give his hand on my behalf? You have hidden misunderstanding from their minds, therefore you must not exult. He informs on his friends for a share, and his children's eyes pine away. He made me a byword among people. I've become like Tophet of old. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I had to.
Oh, I understand.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My eyes fail from vexation. All shapes seem to me like shadows. The upright are amazed at this. The pure are aroused against the impious. The righteous man holds to his way. He whose hands are clean grows stronger. But all of you, come back now. I shall not find a wise man among you. My days are done. My tendons severed. The strings of my heart, they say that night is day, that light is here in the face of darkness. If I must look forward to Sheol as my home and make my bed in the dark place, say to the pit, you are my father, to the maggots, mother, sister, where then is my hope? Who can see hope for me? Will it descend to Sheol? Shall we go down together to the dust?
Yeah, this is a I would say a far more interesting chapter.
It's beautiful.
So I don't give a shit about that, but the yeah. So especially starting with verse 13 there, the stuff about Sheol, right? He's specifically talking to because like Sheol and the pit are they're definitely linked there. So but notice here he says, if I say to the pit, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother or my sister, and because of the association that we can make with Sheol, this in particular has also been a big reason why scholarship has moved towards Sheol being the grave, not just because it starts it with like the grave is ready for me. This is talking about this physical place, right? They're talking about like in the ground, where your body is dead, laying there.
Yeah.
And I also want to point out another thing. So since he's talking to God here, right? I did find the verse in where was it? Verse 4. Yeah, since you have closed their minds to understanding. I don't know. I'm gonna guess that has some implications on free will.
I mean, the free will, God's will argument is.
Though it's interesting, however, that there is a commentator by the name of Serachia of Barcelona, who said that this was Eliphaz, the subject, but like, no, it's God according to Ibn Ezra. Well,
why? Yeah, why would how would Eliphaz have the power to close like people's minds to understanding?
Yeah. Wait, I just want to see. Yes. Yeah,
Shut
who
up,
is
Matt.
that?
Says Lawrence, the imaginary celestial is the great I am, and says that's a math joke.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, he is imaginary.
It's like I haven't heard this joke like a million times.
And then Satan616 says James Jimbo Tour is a Messianic Jew. It seems his cosplays besides being an origin of life chemist.
Yeah, we've discussed this before. The Messianic Jews are not Jews. It's a weird Christian cult started by a Baptist. It's exactly the kind of weird, coercive,
it's
exploitative appropriation. Yeah, but in a really creepy fetishy way, like really, really bad, even amongst.
I mean, the weird thing about it is that they were both Messianic Jews and Jews for Jesus were both started by Christian sects for the.
Oh right, that was a different one.
Of converting Jews. So yes, they're pretending that they're really Jewish or that they're appropriating certain cultural things, but the worst thing is their origins rather than the current people, I would say.
Yeah, I mean it.
Which is
started as it meant to go on, but yeah, it's pretty.
It's just so absurd. From just from an historical perspective too, right? Because Judaism is something that developed. A lot of things in Judaism developed in response and reaction to Christianity and to Christian interaction and persecution, and now, you've got Christians who are basically taking on rituals and ideas and practices that were specifically designed, specifically incorporated as a resistance to that. It's really sick. It really
is. It's an irony.
I mean,
a horrifying one, but nonetheless,
it is a horrifying irony.
That aspect of the development of how they kind of split apart is it goes so far that Christians will claim that Judaism is a younger religion than Christianity.
Oh,
because
absolutely right. It's all kind of wild.
In fairness, I think that particular absurdity is in service of the myth that Christianity has remained one thing and has not wildly evolved every single step of the way, and that it is the consistency of Christianity, which totally exists and is not abjectly disproved by every historical record, even tangentially related, that is the proof of God's consistency in keeping his people on the straight and narrow. Which is thanks for disproving your religion for me, but I'm really not sure why you started with that.
Look,
anybody else has any comments?
Well, I do want to listen. I gotta say, just because I am concerned that we're not gonna get to verse 6 before I have to bounce.
Yes.
I'm just really fascinated by this expression, the Tophet. Literally the Tophet before, I become the Tophet of old. Is this, do all the translations understand this as something that's looking backwards? Because that's
He has made me a byword of the peoples, and I am one before whom people spit.
Wow, what is that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Someone who's like looked down upon in society, like the dregs,
sure,
right?
yeah.
That's
the
also
untouchables, like stuff like that.
That's also how Seow renders it. One in whose face people spit. He notes that the noun tofet is an onomatopoeia from the root tof, hence related to Aramaic tup, spittle, and tefaf, Arabic tafa, to spit. The noun is a hapax legomenon in Hebrew, prompting og, Old Greek gelos, which means laughing stock, great album, and vulgate exemplum, both guesses at the meaning. Targum takes tofet as... Oh, but Targum here is very interesting. It reads, from within my soul, I feel like Gehenna.
Yeah, Steinsaltz translates it as one who is already in hell. And I don't know what translation it's based on. I think it's Rashi seems to think that it means a drum.
Like, I gotta say, this just feels like a bunch of cope to me. It really does. And it's the only reason I can see for it is because it's a shortened form of how the word usually appears. But that's that's not odd to see words missing their materis lectionis, their vowel letters. And I just I think there's probably some discomfort with this idea too, because what I'm seeing here, what I'm reading here is a reference to the ritual practice of child sacrifice in the Judean kingdom. That was a thing that happened from probably the 8th century, maybe earlier, but certainly from the 8th century through to the destruction of Jerusalem. So it's it's just very interesting.
Yeah, JPS says it's like Tophet, and then it says as a note that that consumed children, and then to check it says compare Jeremiah 7:31.
Yep. So, which is also that text in Jeremiah, by the way, is also probably a very late edition, like maybe even 3rd or 4th century BCE. So it's
Gay Ben Hinnom.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gay Hinnom is
could be working in some harmonization.
But yeah, you can see where the connection is between Tophet and hell or Gehinnom, because it's literally
right. Yes. Jeremiah. Yeah. No, that's a good observation. That's probably where.
Jeremiah 7:31 is literally, and they have built the shrines of Tophet in the valley of Ben Hinnom. Gehinnom, to burn their sons and daughters in fire, which I never commanded, which never came to my mind. So. But yeah, I mean, Tomer, the idea is interesting as well.
This is that text in Jeremiah, by the way, is the lady doth protest too much collection of verses.
Never even thought about it. Where did you get the idea? I would think about that.
Sorry, hold on. Before we move on, we do have an answer here from Danger Man about what they meant here. So because you can't use terms of violence in super chats, what this meant to say was, I would like to punch God and Jesus. So some word that rhymes with lunch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I get
it. Okay, so that
lunch, God and Jesus. I went with punch, rod, and penis.
I did find an interpretation.
I think Jesus would like that last one too much.
I did find Kimchi, who notes that some say that the filthy place is called Tophet, and this is the closest interpretation.
Oh my god!
What filthy place?
The filthy place.
What,
I think
genitals?
I think maybe the
toilets?
anus. I don't know. It's hamakom hametunaf. That's how he writes it.
How does that fit in with Alva?
Oh yeah, I mean,
I have become like an anus of old.
I get guys are, well, more prone to shit jokes, but this doesn't really seem the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with verses 2 and 3. Habel notes that Job calls his friends mockers. Mockery and derision are typical of complaints against enemies in lament psalms, as we see in Psalms 69, 11 through 13, which is 10 through 12, 74, 10, 89, 51 through 52, which is 50 through 51. Thus, Job places his friends in the camp of the enemy. Job's assertion is underscored by the expression in truth, imlo, which Habel takes as an abbreviated oath formula, similar to 27, 2 and through 4. The full version would be, as God lives, I swear that in truth, etc. Job then offers a pledge of his integrity, tantamount to an oath, which is consistent with his earlier claims of innocence, 9:21 and 10:7, and his challenges for God to recognize his claims, 13:15 and 19 through 22. Like the practice of offering pledges in trade transactions, Genesis 38, 17 through 18, between Judah and Tamar, thus too Job is willing to offer a pledge of his integrity against the day of his trial, even if that takes place after his death. Job's question, who will, could be a direct challenge to God, though Habel writes that it is also likely that he is calling his heavenly witness to accept his pledge before he dies. Thus, Job is willing to swear that his claims are true, while his friends speak deceitfully.
Yeah, we've been over the swearing to gods because they, if they took your deposition in their name, then it was presumed they would come after you if you lied because you had dishonored them. Although at this point, I don't know what else he has to fear.
On verse 4, Seow comments, quote, Job claims to be isolated because God has kept the mockers from understanding. This is a notion reminiscent of Isaiah 6:10 and 42:20. While complaints about mockers are frequent in the Bible laments, nowhere else do we have such a bold assertion that the problem lies with God's deliberate act. Quote, you have kept their mind from understanding, end quote. Not only is God on the side of mockers, God is the reason for their hostility born of ignorance. This is an astounding charge. It contradicts the traditional view of God as the one who gives understanding. 1 Kings 5:9, which is 4:29, Proverbs 2:6, 1 Chronicles 22:12, and 2 Chronicles 2:11, which is 12. What is meant by understanding in this context is perhaps not so much intellectual perception, but ethical instincts, the opposite of treachery, see Proverbs 13:15. And Job has previously characterized his friends as treacherous in 6:15. Yet now he avers that they are that way because God made them so. Job charges that the friends have not known how to conduct themselves in the face of his suffering because God had prevented their minds from having understanding. God is finally responsible for their thoughts and actions, so Job demands that God not then permit them to triumph. Sorry. On verse 5, Hartley writes that Job warns his friends of the danger that their false accusations against him may incur. He does that with a proverb about the retribution exacted against children of him who informs against friends for personal gain. This cryptic proverb, quote unquote, in this cryptic proverb, quote unquote, there is a contrast between friends and children. He notes that Gordis found here a folk saying that describes an effort to host a great feast beyond one's mind. The friend's display of wisdom to Job is pretentious, being at best very limited. Hartley writes that by using this proverb as a warning, Job is employing the same logic and method as his friends, in order to penetrate the hardness of their thoughts toward him.
Answer a fool according to his matter, lest he be like him.
I guess.
See, the thing is, when people quote that, they're forgetting the other half
Answer
that
not
verse.
a fool according to his matter.
Yeah.
No, it was answer a fool
wise.
according to his matter, lest he be wise in his own eyes, and then answer a fool not according to his manner, lest he be like him.
Yeah.
Oh.
They always forget the second half of that verse.
On 6 and 7, Seow notes that Job shifts from speaking of the betrayal of one's own children to portraying himself as a child betrayed by a parent. Job is not merely mocked, but was made into a public taunt. He writes that the notion of taunt among people recalls the covenant curses in Deuteronomy, where those who violate God's dictates will be humiliated among outsiders and will become, quote, a taunt and a joke among all the people, end quote. Deuteronomy 28, 36, and 37. Job's affliction in 2:7 is similar to the affliction described in Deuteronomy 28:35, though the reader knows that Job had indeed been set up. Job's eyes, quote unquote, also grow dim, echoing the eyes that are wary in verse 2b and are about to fail in verse 5b. The repeated motif of failing eyes in compare 16:20 evokes exhaustion, grief, and approaching death. Psalms 6:8, which is 7, Genesis 27:1, Deuteronomy 34:7, etc. Thus, as his vision fades, so his form, Yetsurai, a term suggesting his createdness, also fades away. On verses 8 through 9, Habel comments, quote, "These verses seem an awkward intrusion in this context, and some scholars consider them misplaced, for example, Stevenson and Foyle. Who are the upright to whom Job is referring in verse 8? Does he mean genuinely upright people who, by virtue of the righteousness, would be appalled at Job's condition, or is he using the terms upright and pure sarcastically to refer to the friends, whom he addresses directly in verse 10? Perhaps there is an element of both meanings in the text. For if Job is castigating his friends, castigating his friends.
Castigating is a word, yes. That means...
Yes. I thought chastising, but no, it's not. Castigating his friends who claim to be among the righteous. It is appropriate for Job to contrast them with ideal or sincere righteous people. Those who with genuine integrity contends Job, would be astonished at his plight because they would recognize his innocence and not equivocate like the friends in verse 8. They would not be led astray and devise deceitful responses to his condition. Instead, they would be strong and offer support. The godless, Chanef, in verse 8b, would then be a veiled allusion to the friends. Bildad and Eliphaz, it seems, had already attached the label of godless to Job, as we see in 8:13 and 15:34.
That is so funny. The way that the thinking of the friends goes, they are saying things that honestly they should know aren't true. I mean, nobody knows the inside of someone else's head and heart, but if they've known Job for that long, they should know his character and know that he's not doing nefarious evil things. And they should stand by his character, or at the very least be willing to hear him out and see evidence on the matter. But they feel this urge to defend their idea of God and their idea that God is always just, and so we have to defend the idea that he's just, or he'll come after us, is the unspoken part that you're not even necessarily always conscious is a motivating factor. But this is demonstrating the religious way of thinking. I have to defend this position, so I'll just make shit up if I have to, but I'll make myself believe it somehow with sort of a looping deep think thing. But it's the same thinking. We see it today all the time. Exactly the same. Same shit. Except this time it's, evolution and cosmology and the history. It's everything. It's all the things.
All the things.
If an apologist could be wrong about the origin of soap, they would be.
Okay. On 12, Clines notes that this verse is difficult, mainly because the connection of the whole line is unclear. Many English translations take the verse as representing the attitude of the friends to Job's distress, that he'll soon emerge from the darkness of his suffering into the light of life. He writes, however, that Job does not upbraid his friends for encouraging him, but only for failing to recognize his innocence. It's not the friends who are the imaginary bystanders, but upright persons, verses 8 through 9, who mock his suffering, verse 2, ignorant of its real cause, in verse 4. He writes that it is better to suppose that the line elaborates the plans and desires of verse 11, i.e., the natural human hopes for the future that count on night giving place to day. All such plans have been broken. Thus, Job has abandoned hope that he will see the light, i.e., live. He also notes Dorm's opinion that the changing of night into day was part of Job's lament, with the longings of verse 11 being his present unfulfilled desires that haunt his mind and keep him sleepless, and so making his nights into a veritable day. However, he writes that it is inconceivable that darkness should be the desirable time of sleep in verse 12, but in verse 13 be the symbol of death. He also notes Horst's opinion of verse 12b, meaning light comes only from darkness, but this involves an unidiomatic reading of verse 12aa, or a alpha, the night has been determined as day for me.
I'm gonna sorry, I'm gonna have to run, but I know. So but maybe I'll be back next week. It was awfully nice to wake up this morning, and
happy to have you.
Yeah,
sounds fun.
Awesome. All right, thanks guys.
Yeah, bye everybody.
We don't care.
Bye everybody. What? I'm not
I don't know why you said that.
It's sometimes it's like a behavioral thing. Like I learn that when people say bye, I say bye everybody. Like I tend to say, it's very good to see you every time I meet somebody in like public.
Yeah, it's a Pavlovian response.
Pavlovian response. Yeah, I mean I'm intrigued. No, it's not hating about anything. No.
We have volunteers for the human Pavlov experiment. Good.
I guess.
Free steak. Why not?
I mean, you can do it in other manners. I assume. So,
we all know what
no idea.
Okay, so Tomer.
No. 13 through 16. That's the final comment. Hartley notes that Job reflects on the conflict between this certainty of death and his hope. In verses 13 to 14, he imagines preparing for a house in Sheol. Hartley writes that there are some indications in the Old Testament and in archaeology that Sheol was believed to be composed of houses, each with a door and windows. In such a house, Job wishes to lie down and be relieved from his suffering. Since he has no family on earth that acknowledges him, he adopts the pit, or the grave, as his father, and the worm, Rima, as his mother and sister. Hartley further writes, quote, concluding these possibilities with a rhetorical question, Job inquires after the location of his hope, by which he specifically means his vindication that would eventuate in the restoration of his honor and his health. Is there anyone who can foresee a brighter future for him? No is the answer, for the darkness chokes every ray of hope that one might have, and if any hope was found, would it pass with him to the chambers of Sheol? The answer is no. Since hope is synonymous with life, it could have no existence in death. Therefore, the dust will be the end for both his hope and himself.
Cheerful.
Yes.
Also, need to say hello to Hive Psy and the Raiders.
Hive Psy, hi.
Good to see you, Bree.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have, it's like not one Christian, but, yes, so the father's comment on the final part of Job's speech according to three main lines of interpretation, and the one I chose was by Gregory and Chrysostom, who said that his words include prophetic truths announcing the advent of Christ, the new judgment, and the universal church.
Is the universal church the pit?
The universal church.
And the father is the pit, and the Mother Superior and the nuns are the maggots.
That would be a very Protestant take on it.
That's quite long, though, from Gregory.
Wait, do Protestants not have, like, nunneries, or whatever they're called?
No. There is some elements of Protestant Christianity might have some sort of devotional option in life, but they don't believe in chaste, necessarily chaste ministers, and they don't have monasteries with monks or nuns or any of that shit. If you can devote your life in a more practical sense, get a lifelong job working as a missionary or something, but not in it's not a vocation in that same way. Which I can't believe I'm saying this, but might actually be a lack for some of them. And there are people who thrive in that lifestyle, if not that, not to say anything for the truth of their position.
Well, I'm sure for some people it's ideal compared to marrying a man. So
that is true.
Yeah. So I have here Gregory's comment. So. Set me free and put me aside you, and let the hand of anyone fight against me. For Christ did not sin, either in thought or deed. He was made to abide in bitterness by his passion. He was set free by resurrection. He was put aside the Father. He was put beside the Father by his ascension, in that having gone up into heaven, he sits on the right hand of God. And because, after the glory of his ascension, Judea was stirred up in persecuting his disciples, it is rightly said here, let the hand of anyone fight against me. For the madness of the persecutors did then rage on Christ's members, and the flame of cruelty blazed out against the life of the faithful. But where should the wicked go? Or what should they do, while he whom they persecuted on earth is now seated in heaven? Concerning whom it is yet further added, you have removed their heart far from discipline, therefore they shall not be exalted. If they had been acquainted with the keeping of discipline, and had not ever despised the precepts of our Redeemer, the mere mortal condition of their flesh by itself would have excited them to the love of immortal life. For this reason, even the fact that we are subject to corruption in this life is due to our need for learning discipline, etc., etc. Yeah.
Didn't understand a word of that. Didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think copium is quite entirely covering it, but yeah, there's a lot of it. Just oh my god,
those were definitely words.
I'm sorry, it hurts my brain. A lot of these ancient commentaries are indistinguishable from what a minister might do in making a sermon out of a scripture. And when you make a sermon, it doesn't have to be scholarly. You can take whatever analogy speaks to you in the spirit, which, can be fucking anything, because it's you meditating on a story and what, it's like any form of divination, really. We forget that a lot of the way Christians read the Bible is not scholarship, it's divination. It's the same thing if you do a tarot card reading. There are symbols in the cards, but you will see those symbols in the context of your own life and your own narrative, and it will help you to struggle with them, and then you will create a narrative out of portions of what you see that works for you. And that's divination. That's what it is, and that's what most Bible study is.
Yeah, like preaching, whatever. It's like they think they're citing the Bible, but they'll just say, the Bible says. They don't even say which book.
I still think it's pretty weird that it's technically like pagan magic. Who's a good little snack?
Yeah, my Dominican red mountain boa, voodoo.
As
your earlier comment, you people can't say what they're quoting from the Bible. They just think they're quoting the Bible. They're trying to quote the Bible. And it reminds me of Tevia's comment that, well, I know that somewhere it says something about a chicken.
It reminds me of, I used to watch very old movies, and this was, there were some ladies in a kitchen in the South. I'm sure you can extrapolate a few things from that. And they're like, sneaking food out to poor people who need it. They're like, it says in the Bible that, It's like, does it? Know. Well, if it doesn't, it ought to.
I don't think chicken is in the Bible at all.
I mean,
chicken. What type of chicken?
I like in Hebrew they don't even have a word for chicken. It's just called bird.
Off. I mean,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it mentioned birds lots of times. So
like chicken, tanagol.
Yeah,
Or
I
like-
know. I meant the meat. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally
It's
fowl,
off.
like bird. Yeah. But yeah.
Like
That is the
no,
what kind
you
of
wouldn't call it.
Bible? Yeah, I guess it is somewhere.
You wouldn't call like everything.
Is it? Yeah, I think maybe the rooster. A rooster is mentioned in the Bible, right?
The cock
Actually, I don't
crows
think
for
that it
Peter, which is definitely not OT, but that's yeah.
that
trying
is
to think
referring to a chicken, right?
Oh, like how many
Yeah,
other
I'll give you
birds
that.
have roosters that crow at sunrise, or just before?
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I'll give you that.
Um,
Oh, really? The word Tanagol
That's
is not
great.
in the Bible?
no. I think the
it sounds
oldest
Persian.
reference, the oldest reference is in Pelik Shira, which is like a prayer book, maybe, or
Shira?
or the
Isn't
letter
that
of. I mean, the letter of Aristeas probably also refers to like no, but that's Hebrew. That's not. It's not really.
Yeah, when I say the Bible, I'm talking about the real Bible.
I talk about yes. I also
The one that the Lord sent from the heavens to King James in 1966 so that he could have an excuse for his gay lover.
In 1966.
Sorry, 1660. Shut up. I meant 1666.
Wait, it was written in
1611.
1611. Whatever.
Okay, yeah.
The
1666
666 meme
66, what
was
the hell?
obviously.
Everybody knows what happened in
Almost like
1666, right?
D's.
Um,
Is that when
you-
9/11 happened?
You Americans.
Yes.
What?
The Great Fire happened in 1666.
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah.
And it stopped at the feet of John Donne's statue. At the church he
talking of
preached at.
statues, I heard of this recently. That there was some church got they ordered something, whatever, that came in, and it was like this elaborate sculpture of Bababels, made out of Bababels. And the person, and they're like, "What is this?" And they're like, "You said you wanted a statue of baby cheeses." And they're like, "No."
Oh, Babel! Babel, the tiny cheese.
Bababel, yeah, Bababel, yes.
Babybel.
Yeah, I think in French it's Bababel. Yeah.
Babybel. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. All right.
They're like, "Please."
Is there a pun hell? Is there a pun hell we're going to?
I mean, hell is pun hell, right?
Pun hell.
Maybe.
For me, certainly.
Yeah.
We're all living in hell, so make it as fun as possible.
Well, if it's not hell now, the Christians will make it hell as soon as they can.
Yeah. Are we reading 18? Because I don't see R in here.
Yeah, we'll read 18. I'll just take it over there.
Yes.
Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, "How long will you hunt for words? Consider, and then we shall speak. Why are we counted as cattle? Why are we stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself in your anger, shall the earth be forsaken because of you, or the rock be removed out of its place? Oh, damn. Surely the light of the wicked is put out, and the flame of their fire does not shine. The light is dark in their tent, and the lamp above them is put out. Their strong steps are shortened, and their own schemes throw them down. For they are thrust into a net by their own feet, and they walk into a pitfall. A trap seizes them by the heel, a snare lays hold of them. A rope is hid for them in the ground, a trap for them in the path. Terrors frighten them on every side, and chase them at their heels. Their strength is consumed by hunger, and calamity is ready for their stumbling. By disease their skin is consumed. The firstborn of death consumes their limbs. They are torn from the tent in which they trusted, and are brought to the king of terrors. In their tents nothing remains. Sulfur is scattered upon their habitations. Their roots dry up beneath, and their branches wither above. Their memory perishes from the earth, and they have no name in the street. They are thrust from light into darkness and driven out of this world. They have no offspring or descendant among their people, and no survivor where they used to live. They of the West are appalled at their fate, and horror seizes those of the East. Surely such are the dwellings of the ungodly. Such is the place of those who do not know God. So, a few things here. I liked the how he started off, basically saying well, who the hell do you think you are, kind of thing. You call us stupid, but you're so meek, right? You're such a nothing burger of a person. The earth isn't going to change, history's not going to change because of you. So I did enjoy that. But then he, of course, goes on to talk about how the wicked, the people who are currently, looking down on him, are going to be punished. And to me, I'm not sure about the exact wording here, but a lot of this is very Proverbs-esque. I think I've seen these exact things in Proverbs, like traps seizing by the heels, walking into a pitfall, the nets by their feet. I'm pretty sure this is all stuff in Proverbs.
The images and phrases, yeah. I mean, it's not a direct quote of Proverbs itself, but yeah, absolutely. If a man spreads a net, it will ensnare him. If he rolls a stone, it will fall onto him. If he digs a hole, he will fall into it. There's lots of... Do not make me come at you with the...
Please do.
Come at you?
Side.
Come at you? What?
I don't have that one in my kitchen cabinet. Chocolate spread, peanut butter,
I know.
lamb spread.
At least I go in style.
We'll get you a first class ticket.
Yay.
I will not be your dominatrix there.
Aww.
Okay.
How did I get cast in this role? Oh, this is not what I signed up for.
I found it interesting how, Lawrence, your translation did verse 20. It translated it uses the east and western meaning of these words. I think it does make more sense. The JPS translates it as the generations to come will be appalled at his fate, as the previous ones are seized with horror, because the words used are it's kind of referring to behind and in front. So yes, you could be talking about the West, because that's behind us. In societies and cultures where East is forward facing, where the sun rises.
Oh, I see.
Behind you is the West, and in front of you is the East. But in the same sense, you could talk about time, right?
Right.
What's in front of us, what's behind us.
Yeah, behind and before. Yeah, the terms could mean latter and former in the sense of also followers and predecessors. Ibn Ezra understood it thus, explaining that the former were the villain's contemporaries. This is a strange way to express such an idea. It seems preferable to take the terms as geographical or directional, designating the inhabitants of the earth from one end to the other. A similar usage occurs in the Ugaritic myth about the violent goddess Anat, who goes on a bloody rampage and smites the people of the sunrise and the seashore, i.e. east and west, meaning all humanity. So that's from Marvin Pope. Yeah.
I mean, it does make sense. It's just that the phrase, Kadmonim, could be referring to those from the east, the Kedem, the forward-facing direction, or it could be referring to the ancestors, the ancient ones who lived before. But I feel like the word acharon, after or recent, to refer to either the generations to come or our current generation. I don't know if that's ever really used to refer if the West is really called the back.
It can.
But
which word are you talking about, Isaac?
In verse 20, the Hebrew uses this expression acharonim, which means you can either translate it as the Westerners because they're behind us, or it could refer to like the generations to come.
So,
and then it also uses the word kadmonim, which is
you spell that in English. The word that you're using.
No, he's gonna make a joke about it. It's gonna be some joke.
No, I'm not.
Well, I would spell it. I would use more Germanic spelling, so I would go like Echaronim.
Echaro.
Echaron?
Acharonim.
They said E.
Acharonim, and that's the plural.
Acharon.
Yeah, it's a plural. It's a plural.
Okay.
It's like
so
those.
Without nim, it would be Acharon.
Yeah.
And it starts with an E.
An A.
No.
Sorry, did I say E?
Starts with an A.
Yeah, you said A.
Yeah.
Okay.
ACH, Acharon. But like, yes, you could also spell it AHA.
All right.
Like
Well, I just need to look this up because there's a brewery in Fort Worth that we like to go to, and one of the beers that they make, one of the imperial stouts that they make with like 14% ABV, has that name.
Oh.
Yeah, and I need to look up what that means.
Do they spell it with a CH or a KH?
First thing that comes up is Darth Acheron.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Little bit of Star Wars lore I didn't know. In Greek mythology, Acheron is often depicted as the entrance to the Greek underworld, where souls must be ferried across
Oh, so it's Charon.
Charon,
is an earlier or later.
Yeah, because Chronos means time, so I guess.
Okay, thanks for that.
But yeah, the Hebrew word is more like Haron rather than curse.
And Lawrence, with his assumptions that I was going to make some infantile joke.
Yeah, maybe I imagine the IPA is more likely named after a Greek god of the underworld or whatever.
I'm glad I was that this one time that he makes this accusation that it wasn't correct.
So wait.
It's also a name of a river in northwest Greece, according to Icon.
Okay.
But yeah,
so
the
Isaac
normally just refers to like recent, right?
And so yes, but like we do find in Joel in Joel 2:20 and Zechariah 14:8 refer to the Western Sea, Hayam Ha'acharon, and the Yam Kadmoni. So
right,
the Western Sea is referring to the Mediterranean Sea, and the Eastern Sea is the Dead Sea.
Right. But you
and also in Isaiah,
the sea behind.
And in Isaiah 9:11, which is 12, the Arameans are said to be from the east, the Kedem, and the Philistines are from the west, Achol. Thus, those from the east are those from the Cisjordan, while those of the east are those of Transjordan.
Okay. I didn't actually know that Achron was used for west, like so literally, in other places. Okay. Yeah. So I guess it does make kind of. I mean, it does. It's got this. Either way, whether you're talking about space or time, it's got this like all-encompassing from the ends to end meaning. So
all around the world. Not that they knew that. Well, if you go east and west,
it's interesting though, because for us, like we think of time facing forward, like the future is in front of us, and the behind us is the past. But in a lot of languages, like just like in Hebrew, the past is in front, and it's almost like they're facing back and saying like, oh, there's the past, we need to look at the past, and then we move kind of backwards through time, which is interesting.
Not that I don't understand the importance of looking at the past. I suppose it is the only one we can see, but still not terribly useful for navigating.
We think of time as a direct lineage from a linear effect from cause to effect, when actually it's wibbly wobbly ball of timey-wimey stuff.
Okay, I'll start in verse 4. Habel writes that in Bildad's eyes, Job is a raving fool who mauls himself, and recalls the prophets of Baal who gashed themselves in their ecstatic frenzy, as we see in 1 Kings 18:28. Job claims that God is tearing him in divine anger in 16:9, but Bildad counters that Job is the one who is tearing himself like a wild animal. Job's radical challenges to the past perspective of cosmic order make Bildad see Job as wanting to play God and design the world as he chooses. The rock, Tsul, is parallel with the earth, Eretz, and probably refers to the divine abode or the cosmic mountain which stabilizes the universe. The rock is also an ancient title for God, as we see in Deuteronomy 32:4, though the imagery here relates to the natural cosmic order. Bildad reuses Job's own language to accuse him of trying to overturn the cosmic order, as if he were Lord of Chaos. Thus, quote, Bildad is accusing Job of projecting onto God what is a trait within Job himself, end quote.
I mean, it's kind of ironic because usually the people talking like that are the ones doing the projecting, but accuse the other of that which you are guilty of, I suppose.
Isn't it amazing how often we're seeing that now?
Yeah. It's almost like the
not just in religion, but in politics.
Oh, I know. It's almost like the poisoned ideas were always poisoned and will continue to grow poisoned shoots until we dig them up.
Yeah. I like how when people started identifying Trump as a fascist, he started accusing the leftists of being fascist, not having any idea
but
what
then
the
also
word fascist means.
Declaring Antifa a terrorist organization, which means that you have to be pro-fascist or at least fascist neutral, apparently, or you're a terrorist.
Yeah.
So you know how like Americans used to love the word freedom, and then they were like freedom fries instead of French fries or whatever, and then that kind of became a joke for like anything beginning with the letter F to kind of call it like, so Fahrenheit became freedom units. Should we now be calling Fahrenheit fascist units?
Yes, we should. Thank you. Let's stick with that. And you know what? I'll tell the story about French toast another time. Let's just say working in customer service, I have had a few honest moments with customers, and I got them on back foot about that. But basically, the fascism is crazy. It's creepy. But the fact that I can still see, and I am not the first person to see, the connection between this kind of toxic religious thinking. It's the same method applied to a different, thing. But it's the same method. It's the same way of thinking. It's the same way of reacting, the same way of being defensive, the same, honestly, very similar arguments and platitudes that you hear today. Like, it just tells me, judge the tree by its fruit does not mean you can find the 3 out of 100 pieces that are not poisoned and only submit those for consideration. Like, there's something fundamentally wrong with the ideas that all of this is built on. And it's never going to go away. You can't cut out the core of a thing and still keep it alive.
Okay. On 5 and 6, Hartley writes that Bildad affirms the idea of retribution against the wicked Hartley writes that Bildad affirms the idea of retribution against the wicked is operative in the present and counters Job's challenge to God. To support this, Bildad quotes 2 proverbs. The first, in verse 5, says that the light of the wicked is extinguished. This proverb is similar to Proverbs 13:9. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked will be snuffed out. I.e., even if the wicked manage to kindle a brilliant flame, shviv esh, it will not continue to burn before the strong winds of God's judgment. The second is about a sheikh's lamp going out, in verse 6, which symbolizes well-being in the house. When it is extinguished, then darkness overtakes the tent. While light is symbolic of life in 3:20, wealth 22:28, and happiness, darkness represents loss 50:30, sadness and death in 3:5. Thus, the fate that befalls a wicked person darkens every corner of his life, and cannot see any ray of hope penetrating darkness. Hartley also suggests that Bildad makes an application indirectly, subtly, to Job by shifting from the plural forms of verse 5 to the singular forms of verse 6. On verses 8 through 10, Clines comments, quote, "In this elaborated metaphor of the trap, 6 different words being used for the trap as if to express its inescapability, the point is that, by whatever precise means, the wicked man is inevitably ensnared by death. The whole issue in this topos is that the wicked is set on a collision course with death. It is not that he is taken in the snares he has set for others, like according to Vogel and Habel, nor that he and not God is the cause of his own downfall, according to Terrien, nor that, quote, the world is full of traps to catch the feet that stray from the right path, end quote, according to Piquet, but rather that, quote, all things hasten on his ruin. The moral order of the world is such that wherever he moves or touches upon it, it becomes a snare to seize him, end quote, according to Davidson. The imagery is drawn not from the heroic hunting of big game, like lions and wild oxen, such as is depicted in Mesopotamia and Egypt, but from the devices used by ordinary people for the snaring of game, especially birds.
Yeah, small snares would be quite common, but it's just, it's so nice. It would be so nice if the world was actually just, but it really isn't. Like, there's no justice unless we make it. It's always been that way.
It's almost as if there is no God.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay, on verse 12, disaster is ready for him when he falls. The Masoretic text reads, Ve'ed nachon letzal'o. The word tzal'o derived from tzela, literally rib. While this meaning of the word is also understood as rib by Vulgate, some have understood tzela to refer to Job's wife, based on Genesis 2:21, where God made Eve from Adam's rib, according to Targum, Rashi, and Ditrani. Tur-Sinai explains that since verse 15 refers to the starving of the evildoer's wife, that this is in line with other allusions in the poem to ancient traditions of the creation of Adam and the lives of the patriarchs. While this meaning is favored by Hakham, Godis, and JPS, Clines writes that this is, quote, a most improbable divergence of attention from the wicked man himself, end quote. He notes that others have taken rib to mean side, and translate disaster is ready at his side, according to NAB, Dorm, Terrien, Pope, and Habel, but there is nothing to recommend this. Anderson suggests, quote, his plump body becomes emaciated, his ribs stick right out, end quote, though it is unclear how this could be derived from the Hebrew text. Seow argues, based on Psalms 38:18, which is 17, that Sal'o should be understood as his downfall, and translates ready for his stumble. Some Targum versions read, one version reads, there will be starvation in his poverty, and degradation is appointed for his wages. And there is another version which reads, his strength will be in starvation, and misfortune is ready for him. And another version, he will experience starvation and misfortune is prepared for him. On verse 13, death's firstborn. In Hebrew, Bechor Mavet. Traditionals understood death's firstborn to be another title for the angel or prince of death, understanding Bechor as the strongest or chief. Likewise, Targum reads, the angel of death will destroy his sons. Tur-Sinai, however, takes death's firstborn to be the aforementioned firstborn of the evildoer. Just as son of death, 1 Samuel 20:31 and 26:16, or man of death, 2 Samuel 19:29 and 1 Kings 2:26, is a man going to die, so Bechor Mavet is the firstborn fated to die. Several commentators take the title to be a reference for the god Mot, since he is called the son of El in Ugaritic texts. Habel writes that as firstborn, Mot assumes a known status and authority in the netherworld. His title as King of Terrors confirms this function of Mot as ruler of the netherworld. Seow, however, notes that Mot is never called firstborn in Ugaritic mythology, and was certainly not described as the firstborn of El. He also notes that others try to connect Death's firstborn with other Mesopotamian deities, like Namtar, the god of the plague, or Reshef in Canaanite mythology. But again, it is not known if they were firstborn. He writes that there is no convincing mythological parallel for the firstborn of death, and that the noun Bechor may be used metaphorically as a superlative, without the reference to temporal priority or birth. Thus, he takes the firstborn of death to mean, quote, the deadliest thing, the deadliest manifestation of death, perhaps the deadliest disease, end quote, which could possibly refer to leprosy. This view is shared by Clines and Hartley.
I mean, if there is a deadliest creature or disease or just deadliest thing on the planet, I'm pretty sure it's only to be found in Australia. So I just, everything there will kill you in really remarkable ways. So
I think there's a Jewish traditional translation for this is like, oh, the king of death or whatever is just the king of demons or something like that.
I said Targum. The angel of death will destroy his sons.
Yeah, but angel of death, but that's not the same thing as the king of demons.
There is another variation which reads
Asmodeus.
There is another variation of the Targum which reads, it will destroy completely the strength of his skin, and the beginnings of death will suck up his sons.
The beginning of death.
Oh, Brad, we've got to get out of here. It will destroy us.
It's all right, damn it.
Yeah.
Beginning of death.
Tomer has no idea what I'm talking about. Lilith,
no,
obviously
I don't. Okay, on verse 14, the king of terrors, in Hebrew, Melech Balahot. The traditional understanding of this figure is of this phrase is to a mythological figure. Thus, Rashi renders the king of demons, Rabbeinu Tam, demons, Hakham, the angel of death. Again, much like Bechor Mot, is that Bechor Mot or Bechor Mavet? Some commentators try to identify him as a Mesopotamian deity. Seow notes that Burns identified him as Nergal, noting that in one Akkadian text, Nergal is said to be full of terror. This is not surprising given that he was the lord of the underworld. Instead, he takes the king of terrors to be death as king of the underworld, attested elsewhere in other mythologies. Likewise, Clines takes the king of terror to be the equivalent of the Canaanite Mot, god of the underworld. Tur-Sinai, however, writes that designating Melech Belahot as a mythological figure would leave Vatitz'adehu without a subject. Also, there's no instance of a subjectless verb in the feminine, and striding to the king could be expressed only by Tsa'ad El, not by Tsa'ad Le. He renders, and the terrors shall make him run away, taking Melech as an M infinitive form of the root halach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, JPS has like terror marches him to the king, which I guess is based on that roundabout way of understanding it.
Yeah. Yeah. On verses 15 and 16, Habel writes that the fire and brimstone, which destroyed the tent of the wicked, are not the same fire and brimstone as in Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis 19:24, but rather the fire which erupts from below, as in the case of Datan and Aviram, in 15 verses 30 and 34, Psalms 106, 17 and 18. He notes that fire is an ancient of death, 20:26, consuming deep into the pit of Abaddon, and destroys the roots of life and produce from beneath, 31:12. He writes that this concept of fire consuming the roots of produce is to provide the link between verses 15 and 16. Bildad had previously used the metaphor of the wicked as plants, which wither quickly in the sun, 8:12. Here they suffer destruction from the deadly fire that burns their roots from beneath. On verses 17 through 19, Seow comments, quote, this termination that awaits the wicked is indeed more decisive than the end of life and the disappearance of the prospect of progeny. Even mention, zichru, the term also means memory, of him disappears from the earth, and he becomes a nameless entity in public, as if he never even existed, in verse 17. In contrast to the righteous, the memory of whom is a blessing, Proverbs 10:7, a memory that is everlasting, Psalms 1126, the wicked will have any memory of him erased altogether. Compare Psalms 34:17, which is 16. Bildad's vision of the annihilation of the wicked from the earth may be seen as a retort to Job's call for earth to preserve the evidence of his unjust death. seen in 1618. Job wants the injustice of his death not to be covered up, but Bildad speaks of the elimination of any mention, any memory of the wicked from the face of the earth. Instead, the wicked will be thrust from light into darkness and driven from the world, in verse 18, meaning that he will be in what a psalmist calls the land of oblivion, Psalms 88:13, which is 12. There will be not a trace of such a one, even among his own people, none who remains in the place where he once sojourned, verse 19. Sorry, I have chronic rhinitis, so that's hard.
Yeah, talking of like angel of death, I found out recently that in Islam, the angel of death is called Malik, and it's got nothing to do. It's not based on like the word angel in Hebrew, or king of the netherworld or anything like that. It's because they took the word for hell from the Hebrew, so they say Jahannam or something like that, which comes from Gehinnom or Gehenna. So Malik comes from Molech, like the god that they sacrifice the children to or whatever. So that's the angel of death in Islam is named after Molech, which is a bit find an interesting change of character. Yeah.
God does like to kill him some babies.
And finally, 21, such is the place of one who does not know God. Clines writes that not knowing God is not a sign of atheism, which was scarcely known in the ancient Near East, but rather evidence of insufficient piety, quote-unquote, according to Forer. Knowledge of God is a characteristic prophetic phrase, found in Hosea 4 verses 1 and 6, 5:4, 8:2, Jeremiah 2:8, 4:22, 9:2, which is 3, and 5, which is 6, and not typical of wisdom. Clines writes that the multitude of proposals for the background of the phrase proves that it was common to all streams of Israelite tradition, but it is thought to originate in the priestly setting.
Interesting.
Now, the ancient Christians. So I basically included everyone because it's a bit short. Yeah, it's short. So the beginning of Bildad's second speech is severely criticized by the fathers. They perceive it in its ignorance and callousness towards Job's points and opinions, according to Hesychius, and malice and bad faith in the accusations against him, according to Julian of Eclanum and Chrysostom. In the second part of Bildad's speech, the fathers recognize again how his reproaches and accusations against Job are wrong and groundless, according to Hesychius and Julian. At the same time, they are able to find in his words partial truths that provides them with the matter for moral meditations on the ephemeral nature of human glory, according to Gregory, on the desperate life and the inevitable punishment of the impious and the proud, according to Olympiodorus, Philip, and Ephraim. Yeah, that's it.
Impiety is such a delightful thing to accuse someone of, because how could you possibly provide evidence of impiety?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose you could provide evidence of it if you do something really dramatic, but
yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you have like, I don't know, multiple children with different wives and then divorce 6 of them and whatever, I think that could be considered evidence of impiety, but you never know with Christians.
Impropriety, yes. I don't know how to... Piety, it just sounds like they're following in the footsteps of dozens of the people who made their religion. After all, Abraham didn't just have more than one wife. He abandoned one at the side of the road with a loaf of bread, a skin of water, and his eldest kid, and said, fuck off into the desert. Peace.
I'm sure there are plenty of Christians who want to bring back concubines, but
yeah, they saw The Handmaid's Tale and thought goals. That's
not just Christians. I'm scheduling a show with an anti-Islamic counter apologist who wants to talk about how Islam supports concubinage.
That's true.
Yeah, but I feel like in Islam it's almost like concubinage for all the wives. It's not like you have wives and concubines. It's all the wives are the same, but they're all like what a concubine would be in other cultures.
I did get that impression, not just from the Quran, but also from the Bible, that women are just like breedable cattle. That's
well, only people have value.
Yeah,
and I get that
since you only have a handful of women in the Bible that never even get names. I mean, what is there, like 5 that have any kind of quotation attached to them?
Well,
so nobody cares what they say. They're just somebody's wife or somebody's third wife or whatever. They're all like a mix of their breedable livestock.
That
seems to be the more consistent description. And in the Quran, it's even worse than the Bible, because when you go to heaven, if you go to the Muslim heaven, you will be accompanied by your wives if they believed. Otherwise, they're going to the hell. But you will be accompanied by your wives, and you also get sex robots, meaning women that were created in heaven for you that never existed on earth. Their only sole means of existence is to be your pleasure partner. So effectively, sex robots, and your women not only have to wait in line behind each other, but they also have to queue up after your
do they have
masturbatory fantasy robot.
Yeah. I don't know if the Arabic implies that they're women necessarily. Just says virgin.
That's true. They have just as much predilection for young boys as every other religious group.
Yeah, and interestingly, it's not 72 virgins. I've never figured out where the 72 virgins thing comes from, because it's not in the Quran.
I thought it was just like a mistranslation of something too, wasn't it?
I was never able to figure out, with a panel of Arabic speakers raised in Islamic traditions in different parts of the world.
Stop.
Stop.
Sorry, there was a glitch with your microphone. Could you just bring it closer?
Apparently, the number comes from Shiite tradition.
Well, I guess they were like, well, we should get 72 versions. The Christians have 72 gents, so.
Yeah,
I mean, they wouldn't be virgins if they were just made in heaven as, sex robots.
There is
much like the little boys who come into existence just to be waiters for all eternity.
There is a
how are they described? Doe-eyed or something like that? Doe-eyed little boys or something like that?
Something like that, yes. But
nothing good.
There is a hadith also in Jami there is a scholar, Sunni hadith scholar Al-Tirmidhi, who quotes Muhammad as having said, the smallest reward for the people of heaven is an abode where there are 80,000 servants and 72 auri, or over which stands hori. I don't know.
Hori. Yeah, that's the word hori. That we don't. Yeah, hori. It could be
over which stands a dome decorated.
Yeah, I think that's the word hori or auri. We're not. It could. I think it's like they're not exactly sure what it means, but it could be like virgins. It could be
but there is another hadith which is said
raisins
in that same book, which reads, he is married to 72 wives among the wide-eyed houris of paradise, and he may intercede for 70 wide-eyed houris of paradise, and he may intercede for 70 of his close relatives. So it's not the Quran, it's a hadith.
Right, yeah.
And I think there's only like one hadith that is like accepted by everyone, and then the other ones are like basically up for debate. So which one does that come from? Do you know?
So that one specifically is from Al-Tirmidhi.
Okay, I think
Al-Tirmidhi.
Okay, I think Bukhari is the one that's accepted.
Everyone agrees, yeah.
Yeah, specifically this is I think it's 2562. Jami at-Tirmidhi 2562.
Yeah, maybe not a very that's the thing. Not everyone follows it.
Wow,
yeah,
so
I
was
was gonna say, like, if people were to saying that we only.
Interesting as it is, this is not the Quran.
It's not the Quran, but it's like the things with hadiths are very like okay.
No, I mean it's
not the Bible.
It's talking about Islam.
It's as messily put together, I suppose, as the Bible. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
if we're going to talk about books that are based on the Bible, we may as well read the Book of Mormon.
We did that already.
Please.
Yes, well, we all want to hear Tomer say, Yahweh! Again.
No, that's not it. I don't know what the word refers to. What was the word again? I could probably remember it again.
I don't know.
Yahweh!
Oh, God. God.
God.
Oh, no, God.
Yeah, because Tomer would always read it in what he considers to be an American accent.
No, that's not American accent. That is the proper Reformed Egyptian accent. That is.
So every time you say God, it should sound like that goat screaming meme that was like a really big thing randomly.
But if you're going to write it down, it would be spelled like Gowd.
The dialect Tomer was going for, I think that's called Reformed Texan.
Okay, I have to read the comment from Icon. On second thought, let's not go to the Book of Mormon. 'Tis a silly place.
I don't know about you. I love it.
Where's that from? It sounds so familiar.
The Holy Grail.
The Holy
Monty
Grail.
Python. Oh no, it's the Holy Grail. Yeah.
It is the
On
Holy
second
Grail.
thought, let's not go to Camelot.
Oh,
'tis a
Camelot,
silly
yeah.
place.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Get that for heart.
Isaac,
Honestly,
you're the Brit here.
I know.
Dishonor.
At this point in my life, I'm not sure if I've seen films or if I've seen, clips of films, and then in my head I've reconstructed the movie into my own version.
Dishonor on your cow.
It's like I've never seen. Actually, I have seen Yes Minister. I've never seen Yes Prime Minister. Maybe. Well, I didn't watch I didn't finish it, but what can I say? It's not like
if you only watch one episode, watch the episode The Key. I think that's the best one.
I was just looking ahead here, getting back to the Bible, because I don't want to have to live to 700 to get through this damn thing. I was looking to see when does God, when 900 years old are you? Not so good. You will look. Yeah, I was getting to just seeing how far we had until God shows up to defend himself. Chapter 38.
Yeah, but 19.
God, I wouldn't want to watch the play version of this book. Back in the day, like, okay, we're going to be doing Job, and everyone's like, yay, that's so good. But like the first part is like just this conversation of poems.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to read chapter 19, but it is probably there's verse 25 here, which talks about the Redeemer, which is probably one of the most like heavily commentated upon verses in the Bible, because Jesus apparently
So like in 2 episodes. Okay, but yeah. Are we gonna have extra shows over the holiday period or less shows?
I don't think we can answer that without our illustrious leader.
Yeah,
I think I won't be available for Saturday 27th, not 20th, because
Saturday 27th. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely work around here. I do have a friend coming in from out of town, and I don't know when she's gonna be available or not, so I don't really know my schedule for that exactly. But like up until at least the 25th, I can basically do whatever. It would be nice to get more shows in, because like Job is a long book, but also like we're gonna be starting Psalms after that.
Oh
and
God!
Like,
okay, we really have to develop a ranking system for which ones we're actually going to talk about.
No. here's the thing.
Can we do like a Sunday show?
We need to read all of them. Okay, like I will feel unaccomplished if we don't read all of them, even though I've already read all of them. But
I will spank you.
That's what. That's fine. I spank back. So
Spank?
Look, I'm not saying we can't read them all. I'm saying that when it's just sucking God's dick in A minor, we can speed run it and be like, that's dumb, and it's sucking God's dick in A minor. Next.
A lot of it, yes, I totally get. A lot of it is saying the exact same thing. Totally understand that. So we don't have to spend too much time on it, but I think we have to read these things at least.
Yeah.
And I would also say that like I am gonna have some commentary for like mostly I'm gonna be concentrating on mythological stuff.
There are some psalms that definitely will need deep dives.
Yeah, I do. I will, however, need beforehand the psalms that I should commentate on, or at least like a guide, not a guide.
Which ones?
Just
Which
like which ones should I research more deeply?
Okay.
119.
Before we, I think we might want to get some sort of a classification system, maybe a bingo card, to see how we want to place the tropes, because there'll be a handful of tropes that just keep repeating. But at the same time, do you think it's worth getting out narcissist bingo for when God actually does say something in this book?
Oh, in Job?
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Darvo, but I can't get more specific without the actual full context.
Not sure.
Yes. Where is the Aaron?
Not quite. I also not sure. I don't know. Playing with his snake, probably.
Yes.
It looked like he got an urgent call, so yeah.
Tom, explain to those who are not musically inclined, what is A minor?
Play the note.
Oh, it's not a note. It's
a chord.
It's a chord.
Whatever.
It's
like, a key.
But what does it mean?
Play. It's
like,
specific. It's like A, C, and E play together. These are.
Oh, okay. Wait, that's a chord, no?
Yeah.
It is a chord. That's the fucking point. When you say A minor, it refers to a chord.
Or what does it mean when you take a song and play it in A minor? What does that mean?
It's the key of A minor, which is A minor key, obviously.
Is it a key or scale? It's key.
It's a key.
Okay.
Keys have scales and chords that represent them and take your ear to the tonic. And denote in your mind whether they are major or minor, but that's not the point. It is also in this context a reference to
da 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 da. That's
kitty touching.
Listen, I played clarinet,
Kendrick.
all right? So I didn't need to know that.
No, I saw something about how like make any Christmas carol Jewish by playing it in A minor or something like that.
No. That's not correct, because
is that not A minor?
There are Jewish scales, like the Friggish scale. I mean, there are like.
I'm talking about that. Take a Jewish
it's like a mode.
No,
but you have to turn it Friggish if you want to turn it Jewish.
No. Oh.
Okay, Isaac, amusing task for you this week. Go look up the highlights of the Kendrick Drake beef and the Juneteenth performance, especially of Kendrick.
Okay.
Yeah, was that the no. God, I don't know dates. But
you were thinking that
halftime show.
No, that's the Super Bowl. He did also do a halftime show, but the Juneteenth one was the one where he had Bloods and Crips dancing together on stage, where he was introed by, was it Dr. Dre? And then he was, the whole crowd singing, trying to strike a chord, but it's probably A minor. Yeah,
that bar does go hard.
Yeah, it goes hard. And when he's talking about Drake and he's doing the push-ups and he never goes over 18, I'm like, oh, damn. damn. Like the visuals, my pasty ass has never set foot in Compton in my life, and I'm sure everyone can tell. But even I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, this is all like ecclesiastical Latin to me, so...
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. I'm just saying I can't dance to ecclesiastical Latin.
That's just a joke about like it's all Greek to me, so I just made it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Because I got to. I mean, Tom, likes Gregorian chants. No.
I do like Gregorian chants. I do. I like.
Interesting.
I don't know what language.
Yeah. I like medieval music and Renaissance. I recently discovered Carlo Gesualdo, which fucking blows my mind. But I think my favorite composer is Guillaume de Machaut. But I do really like people like Dufay, Ben Chua.
Look up like Greenlandic throat singing or something, whatever it's called.
Okay,
like
that. Who else? Josquin Dupré. I'm a nerd, okay? I'm a fucking nerd.
Hey, I'm down with that.
All right.
And I do like to hear, even when I don't share an interest in it, when someone expresses how much they love a thing. I like to know that they have appreciation for whatever.
It is always better to be the kind of person who can appreciate a thing for itself, as opposed to who has to perform appreciation for some bullshit, weird reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why the normies do these things. They're strange.
So, are we at the end of Tomer's commentary?
I've already done with it. What the fuck do you want me to say about it?
We did the thing.
Yeah,
we did the thing.
We've just been bullshoving for the last like 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that's Yeshivish for bullshitting, by the way.
Yeah. So the people were asking, Aaron, for the holiday season, are we doing more or less shows?
I'm going to follow your lead, sir.
I mean, depends on your availability.
I consider you more, one of the stars of the show, and
for some reason,
more stars of the show. Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, for some reason. So I have a fairly open availability, at least until Christmas. So I have like some more time, but I'm not sure what your schedule is like. So we can definitely work some stuff out, and because I also don't want to get in the way of whatever anyone else is doing for the season. So I'm fine doing more shows.
I'm reasonably open actually this Christmas, unlike previous years. There's obviously some commitments I do have, some family events and things like that. But there will also be times where other people will be engaged in events, and I will have that time free. So it's I think we can make some things work, but we should probably, send that out in email and get ourselves sorted.
Yeah. Well,
behind the scenes.
A Discord poll. No.
A Discord poll. Yeah, we could do that.
We could. It won't speak for availability, but
right, I know.
And I accidentally closed the window on what we were just reading. So are we going to be doing 19 or 18?
19.
19.
All right, thanks for that.
999 US dollars.
All right.
Yeah, we got like 2 shows until we get God response. If you were interested, if you wanted to know that. Cool.
All right. Yes. Then Tomer?
Yeah, I'm going to finish up with a certain previous inmate whom Aaron has interacted with previous times.
Well, we're completely going to deny Lawrence saying a certain thing.
Oh, yes, sure.
I didn't even get to finish the sentence. I just said Tomer, comma, and he took over.
Yeah.
He can be relied upon for these things.
Before, I guess, Tomer maybe sings us out to the tune of Ken Hovind screeching about something. Join the Discord. And also...
Discord?
The Discord. The one and only Discord. My Discord. The Behold Network Discord. But also the Behold Network channel. And I guess that's the important stuff, right? That's the only important stuff.
All right. So 1 week from today, Saturday, we do this again?
Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
For the what is it? The 18th, 16th,
the 20th.
The 20th.
The 20th would be the Saturday. Yes.
27th. I don't think I'll be available.
Chapter.
So
19th.
We're doing the 19th. We're doing the 19th and the 20th.
Okay. We're doing the 19th on the 20th. That's not confusing.
And then midweek. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. Yes, and this is from page 101, the final page of his doctoral thesis. Jesus would be a liar if evolution were true. Good night, everybody.